There has got to be a better way to do any of this. This is kind of a mess to deal with. This is all very annoying to press. There's too many buttons to press, and it's too annoying. Give me a second. Give me a second. I need to press some buttons. I need to press some more buttons. Okay, we're good. I think we're actually good with this. I'm also not live on Twitch, which is good. I don't know who's here. I actually can't tell. I actually genuinely can't tell until someone types a message because I don't understand how the stage system works. I just know that the stage works. What's interesting about these segments is that it can just be me as well, because the problem is I can't do these live. These bits of content are not really made for a live viewing session. Welcome to today's KINO, everyone. The VOD viewers are going to, I think, look at this and still wonder why we do this on Discord. The problem is that everything is in copyright, so I can't just go ahead and actually, do it in real life. It's sort of a problem. If you try to do this on Twitch, I think the copyright police would come after you and you'd be dead instantly. Where did they even put the camera? Where did they put the camera? Where did they put the camera? Where did they... Huh? What's that icon? Why is there a trash can icon? Oh, that's just the world. We're in a fishing world. I don't really know what this is. I actually see a concentric ring around me too, which is also very frustrating. What's interesting about this world, and you can sort of see it based on whatever this position is. I also don't know how to... I've been looking into how to be better at cinematography on VR. The big problem is that the cinematography on VR aspect is kind of annoying because you have to sort of remember to position it well depending on where it is, and once you position it, you can't preview the next step. It's sort of the worst part of the entire experience. You can't preview the next step. So now we're actually moving, but you can't actually see what I want you to see, which is weird. It's also kind of strange in that it's this. Why is it disembodied? Oh, there we go. Oh my god, wait. So if I go like this, and I put it right here, and then, oh, no shit. It does work. I can caress you. I can hold you like a baby. That's good. Wow, so many different things I've learned today. I've noticed that there's a lot of difficulties in trying to make this stuff work, and it's actually commendable the way that VR chat creators make their content, because I don't understand how to do it well. I've noticed that there's a lot of complexities around having to get the right shot and even the framing, because it's weird in that usually from streaming perspectives, you're usually in a first-person perspective. But in this game, you can't be in a first-person perspective, because what we perceive is very different from the reality that is happening in front of our eyes. It's very weird to think about, but basically, the reality that we see in front of our eyes is a very different point of view compared to what is actually happening. Oh god. Which results in a very disorienting experience, because the shakiness, I don't notice the shakiness unless I'm looking at the camera. Then I go, okay, I'm really shaking a lot. And what I've noticed too is that it's hard to capture the things that you want to capture well, because everything about the VR experience is designed for a much more full body view. A camera view can't capture the complexity of the space. I don't even think the depth of the space is really captured well. In saying all of that, though, I think there's something interesting about this medium that you can't find anywhere else. Like, I legitimately don't think there's any other way that this medium could be replicated in any other form. Which is interesting because it has its own challenges and stuff, right? But I think those challenges are a fun, creative box to break out of. We're currently in a fishing world. Don't really know why we're here. There's actually, this time I see ads. I didn't turn off my ad block. These are just here. So never met, you never met. Personality first, relationship, she's a catch. I still, okay, I know this is crazy to say and I feel bad for saying this, but I don't know how well these things work. Not because I don't think that it can work, but I feel like most people are way more shallow than they intend to be. Like, I feel like a lot of people are very, very shallow, and it's very hard to sort of break out of that mindset. How successful are they at breaking that hard problem? Because not even the dating sites where you meet people can break the problem of shallowness. And they have an incentive to, because it brings in a whole new set of users who would actually use the thing if they wouldn't be like judged on how they are, right? But in this case, you can. Holy shit! There's a hand tracking glove. Wait a minute. What the? Glove controller compatible with UD-Cat. Use code fishing for 10% off. What now? UDX Real. Wait, that's actually a sick glove. Wait, how does it work? So you go, you wear the glove. It has hand tracking, and it's a glove controller, and it's finger tracking. Wait, maybe I should get that. That's a pretty cool glove. Because the one thing that I did want to try actually, and one thing that I am looking at for my VR setup, is to get more stuff. How to start VR? One click. Move right hand to left hand. Okay, do you see this? You don't see this. Okay, well, let's do it myself. Oh shit! I have fishing rod. Nice. It's actually just like a real life POV fishing video. You know, desktop user. I'm not desktop. More. Or sure. Give me more. You hold this. You hold the button. You move the tip. You let go. While moving. Okay? Desktop is just hold left click. Put your fish in the bucket. You gain EXP. Level up. Collect all fish and rarities in your fish next. It's really just the whole fishing game. I'm realizing that there's a certain level of fidelity that you can reach within your setup that makes the entire experience even cooler. Because while it's fun to see this and look at the thing spin around like a meat spin, I think it's even cooler if you go all the way with the concept and you just basically embody yourself within the space, which I think is cool. But I'm also realizing that the big problem with VR that is going to persist for a very long time is that there's just not people just don't have the money for it. It's just way too expensive. How the hell do I turn off this personal space shit? After I disappear if they get too close. Well, I don't really care about that. How do I stop this ring? There's like a ring on my body. But yeah, there's a lot of things to talk about in VR, and we're gonna watch a movie soon. But I figured this is a good time to talk about them because I'm actually getting more and more interested in the idea of VR, but it's really hard to make work, and I don't really know if there's a way to do so in a cheap, efficient manner, right? However, in saying that, I did find some interesting channels that did VR-related content, and all they had was a body tracker. And that alone seemed to be enough to give you a lot of really cool fidelity that allowed you to really feel like they were there talking to you. How come this world has no music? Like, there's nothing here. I guess it makes sense, because, like, having this voice music is sort of half the battle of anything. It's like the idea of, like, why movies have an entire director that's solely dedicated to sound, right? Like, you have one Did I get the fish? Oh my god, I got the... it's a boot. It's a boot. It's just a boot. How do I reach the boot? Just give me the boot. Just don't fall in the water. Don't fall in the water. It's a rubber boot. It's for 45 point. Where the hell's my bucket? Where's my bucket? Oh shit, I gotta place my bucket down. Oh shit. So there's clearly a level that you can reach that you don't need too much stuff. But in saying that, it's sort of like, well, you know, that's true of anything in our life, right? So it's like, if you don't need too much stuff to do anything, I can't reach the thing. If you don't need too much of anything to reach something, and you can make do with what you have, like, that's cool and all. But if you need a certain amount to reach the next level, oh my god, you can't see it. I've unlocked 2 new fish. I really wish this thing would show the UI that I see. How come it doesn't show the UI that I see? Pins? UI. Oh, that's why. Because you would see everything, including like a camera and stuff. But that's what I'm trying to get you to see, because most of these worlds are built for people, not for machines, bro. I can keep the camera just so the viewer gets. Maybe I keep it up in the air. I don't know. I feel like keeping it up in the air is a good... Actually, I can keep it right in front of me, and I can't see anything, which is sort of the problem. Okay, I'll put it off the side. Another thing I'm realizing that's about streaming in the VR, and sort of the idea of using VR spaces for this type of stuff, it's really hard to get a handle on the space that you're in and trying to make good use of the space in a way that isn't disorienting to even the viewer. We're gonna go to another world. There's actually a really cool world. I'm not really sure if I can do this well. How do I do this? How do I actually move over to a simple... Oh shit, why is it typing in the fucking... Why is it typing? Don't type there. Son of a gun. Okay. We're gonna go into this one. Okay, that's the name. If I can remember how to find it. There we go. Hey, good. The Windows kind of shows up now. Good. Finally, I can show you guys. Shoegaze. Does it even show my... Or is that just a Steam Fair thing? Sorry. I'll continue my point soon. Whatever the point was. Again, if you want to join, you can just join at any time. Another thing I'm noticing about this is that it's really hard to build a cohesive story about, or like a cohesive set of things to do within VR. Like VR, a lot of the experiences, at least the good ones, seem to be based on short roguelike experiences or longer form story experiences. But I don't think both are very particularly easy to communicate on the screen. And I always think about this a lot whenever I choose games to play. Some games I refuse to play on stream because the communication of something just doesn't really work. What is this? Thank you to these beautiful supports. Why is there a blue tint on the camera? Why is it so blue? They're trying to shit off. What's the UI that makes it blue? Fixed rain mode. Your support means the world to me. I like how they say that. It's because it's also like a world. So it's like, oh, you mean the world to me. Trying to get it. There we go. Tier 1 supporters. Thank you to these beautiful supporters. Oh, actually, this is something that I noticed too. So last time there was a slight discussion on, you know, you had the ways that people want to support a world and sort of what is the point. I'm realizing that the mindset of support really is just for the sake of support. Like if you just decide to support something, I think that alone is a good enough venture that there's no need to think any further about that, right? Like it's literally just, oh, you know, if you want to support it, then you should. However, in saying that, I do find it to be very difficult to build a real value incentive for people who are into this stuff and to make it feel like it's worth it for them as somebody who is actually going to pay for this stuff. So the idea of, let's say, supporting a world, right? This person, you know, unfortunately only has a handful of them. But something like this, I was thinking about this, and I was like, I feel like it takes a lot of effort to make something like this, that if you don't... that wanting to support it, it's sort of not just the value, the tangible value of the assets, it's also like the intangibles of like what do you gain out of it as an experience, because VR is particularly about the experiences. Which is like, this is a pretty cool experience. You're in an apartment that's based around the concept of shoegaze, which as far as I know, in my city would be a good, this is like $1 million apartment. Why is there a chessboard? There's no way there's chess. Is there like a bot mode? I don't know. It's a bot mode. And this combined with the hardware aspect, like I'm realizing no wonder this space is currently completely dead. It's literally in many ways impossible for you to make money in this space, and because of that, it's impossible for you to actually do anything in the space. Like it's hard for you to actually be able to survive in the space. It's hard for you to like it's just hard for you. It's hard for the space to grow if everybody in it is cannibalizing themselves in a weird way, right? Like there's no sustainability to the cycle of what VR needs. And it's even worse than any other cycle that I've seen, because at least computers early on had a dual usage. And I sort of understand why Meta and Apple were trying to make home computing on a VR headset a thing, because if you create a usage for these tools that's normal on top of a usage that is niche, like video games, what you end up with ultimately, I think, is a much better experience where you're not just dealing with a subset of people who are only going to use this for that purpose. You now have a general audience to pull from. The problem is that computers are already very convenient, so it's kind of hard to work with. And so you end up in a situation where it's like, okay, well, what are you willing to pay for? Well, now you've got enthusiasts coming in who are like very, very into the process and very into the space. But because they're enthusiasts, a lot of what they think about and what they know about the space is tainted by the enthusiasts and like the skill mindset where they know what's going on, and so to them it's no longer magical, but it actually is technically magical still. And this takes a lot of effort to even think about, because I think especially in VR there's a higher bar because you're in the space, and so there's an aspect of design that you have to bring into it too. Not only in the fidelity of the assets, like, because this can be a low quality asset in terms of how many polygons this is, but in terms of like the feel, the vibe of the space, for instance, that is a very important thing. The atmosphere, the environment, it's those other weird intangible things about the space that aren't typically thought about and captured. And people typically focus on the polygons, but that's just one aspect. You know, to me, this has a much higher bar. But because you know the sauce, it's sort of like, it's easy for you to sort of forget that. And then it then becomes like, okay, well, how are they going to want to spend money supporting something like this when there's so many of them? And then their idea of what the sauce is so different. Because everybody's idea of what the sauce is very different. Like, your idea of what the sauce is very different from somebody else's, and that's just a flaw. It's just a problem with the idea of a space that's just so subjective, right? Like, taste is subjective, and then the idea of what's perfect is subjective, and so we end up in this problem where it's like the people who are willing to pay for it, like, it's not like VR players don't have the money to pay for it. But because they're all enthusiasts for it, and they all are very tasteful and in their own way, sort of the elites of it, because I think the only way to get into something like this is to be somebody who's into the elite portion of it. It's hard to actually make a living off of it, on top of the natural market factors. Like, most people wouldn't buy games in the first place if they didn't have to. You know what I mean? Most people wouldn't even pay for content within the game if they didn't have to. But it is fascinating to think that, like, maybe the only way for something like this to survive long-term sustainably is that they probably are going to have to pull in the same crowd that would go and buy skins within games. The same crowd that would go into Marvel Rivals and drop $30 on some bikini skin, which is currently live right now on Marvel Rivals. There's actually a bunch of bikini skins involving Mantis and stuff, and people are really into that. Not me. I don't look at bugs that way. At least I used to not to. And it's unfortunate, because I think, you know, worlds like this really do take effort, and I think it's interesting that there's so many parallels to other types of content creation in terms of the monetization aspect, where it's like, how do you make money doing the things that you love to do, and doing something that actually does give somebody value in terms of like the ways that they consume it and they use it, but that it's hard to, but that like they aren't willing to pay for it. It's like, how do you then sustain it? Well, you don't, because the entire industry, in a way, it feels like a weird Ponzi scheme, even though it isn't, because it's like the industry is advertising to itself and selling to itself. Like, it's like you see ads for VR games in VR chat, and to me, VR chat is already a fairly hardcore experience for VR, but this is the casual community of VR. And if these are the casuals, it's like, oh shit, what do? You know what I mean? Like, these are the casuals of VR. It's interesting to see, because again, the worlds like this are really nice. This is just a cool apartment. You hang out in the apartment. It's like somebody lives here. There's literally a fan on the floor in the same. I wouldn't place it there. I'd place it higher. The problem with a fan on the floor like that is that you get old, musty air, whereas you put it by the window, you get nice air. Also, this apartment layout is actually insane. What the hell? Look at this. First off, entryway. If you have a separate entryway that is this size, you're balling out of control. Most entryways are maybe from this zone here, and then right, and then they would cut out all of this, and like everything left of my finger would be gone, right? The fact that you have a walk-in closet here too is kind of nuts. And then you've got, honestly, this IKEA shelf idea is actually genius. Me and my wife used to do this, because it doubles as a desk space, and you can put anything that you want in the side of it, like lights. You can put a salt lamp. I don't know why you would want a salt lamp. And then the kitchen, it's like in a nice spot. You have a dragon shirt, so whoever is here is very edgy, right? It's good. You got a lot of really cool stuff here. And the kitchen is actually like a massive size. This is a very good size kitchen. It's not professional level, but you don't need professional level. You just need enough to be able to do your shit. And I think this is a good kitchen to have. And then you have pantry space. Honestly, this is kind of a genius pantry space idea. Like up here. Where's the camera? Where the fuck is this ladder going up? I mean, one, you wouldn't need a ladder. I mean, I guess you do it. Well, I would just climb the counter. Risk breaking my back on the stove and then tipping this fridge over and it crushes my head and my brains spill out. I would just risk that. But this is cool. And then you go into the conversation pit. It's literally, it goes down. Conversation pit. You go into the sofa, go into the TV. Then you go to your bed, which this is like a bachelor, so it's basically one unit. But the fact that it's a conversation pit and you get a balcony is sick. And what's crazy is that this is not too unimaginable, because these little weird cul-de-sac angles are kind of weird in that this is just a corner apartment, basically. This is just a corner apartment in an otherwise dead area. So basically just a giant suburb, which should work and it is possible. But like the design of this, again, that a world like this only has so many supporters is insane to me, because it's like, well, what do you do? Open store? WW. Holy shit, there's like a whole menu. How do I show this? How do I show this to you? Wait, how do I? Okay, sorry for the green tint. You can see little shit's on the green tint and I don't know why. There's a real menu to this. I don't even know how to move the camera. Why is there a green, like a blue tint? Whatever, man. Okay, just look this way and do it over here. Okay, there we go. Okay. You can see there's a whole supporter list. So you can actually... I can't move the camera once I open the menu because this is stupid. Okay, this is... I didn't know VRChat has a built-in payment system. And everything is in V-Bucks. Currently, the only benefit is having your name on the tiered supporter list. What? Supported tier 2 role. Store. How many other worlds have stores? Stores? Wolflies Worlds. What about this one? Does it have a store? Oh shit, it does. Spare some coin? Nothing happens, it's just a donation. Permanently unlock this floater. First ever skin sold. Okay, well, gold cane rod. Permanently unlock the gold rod. Skin for simple fishing. Okay, what about the home? There's no way the VRChat home has a store. Okay, good. I was gonna say this is... Wait, author. Author is friendly vibes? What is this? Instance owner. Oh shit, that's like a real person. Oh god, don't click on that. Not that I don't like people, but I'm just saying, it's kind of... What? The recently updated favorite was POV, you were my mouse. What is this? When did I do this? Goose the Clune. Who made this? Author? How do I see the author? Goose the Clune. He made... Okay, this is interesting. He made this. He also made Disneyland Paris, Illuminations, The Imagination Pavilion, Spook Slots, Happily Ever After, Fireworks. Anyways, turn off the UI. We're going to go to one more world, because I figured this is a cool space to explore. And I'm going to talk a bit about the relation that VRChat has to making money in other spaces. Because it's actually interesting to think that the way that you make money in VRChat is actually... It's the same problems that other parts of the game industry face, but but it has the added difficulty of just being in the VR. And my thoughts on that combined with what it means to stream, which is sort of a weird series of points, but I figured this is like the best time to talk about it. This is a much more chill version of my normal streams, which is nice. My normal streams are too much effort. Sometimes I wish I could just be like a slop streamer, you know, go on, react to a couple videos and be like, oh yeah, this is good. Like, haha, and then say one word every 10 minutes. Not to say that that's a bad thing, but guys, it's not that hard. It's not that hard. Was this the one that I wanted to go to? I'm trying to think of... Remember the name. I don't think it's Snow Cactus. I think it was Nova Wolf. I think this was the one... Yeah, I think this was it. Any friend of a friend can join. It's hard to make money in VR. It's hard to make money in any content. It's hard to make money in any piece of art. It's not guaranteed, but then it's also weird that there's this mindset about spending money in it that it differs across industries that all boils down to the same thing. I actually see it a lot in streaming. This idea of like, oh, why would you pay money for the stream? Because it's like you're giving money to a millionaire. But like, let's assume that somebody is not a millionaire and then let's assume that you're giving money to them because you want to give them money. Is this thing even on? What? Is this on? It is. Thank God. Actually, maybe I should go over here. If I click on this, I can actually see the view. The money that you make within any space is not guaranteed, right? The money that you make is entirely a function of whether or not you can actually convince people to spend money on you. So it's not, I'm not saying that like it should be free money. What I'm saying is that it's fascinating that people have this mindset that content is just free, that it's simple to make, that it simply spawns into the universe, that things just simply exist as part of the world as if it's a natural order. I don't get that mindset. And it's interesting to see it sort of bleed into even the VR side, probably, in the sense of like, you know, all this stuff is free, and so it builds this level of expectation, but then it's like, in many ways, that feels like a race to the bottom. I was watching a video from Eating History, where they were talking about this idea of what is a Western saloon going to serve you, and the idea of a free lunch. This is a Fruitiger era world, and I didn't realize, I didn't realize the aesthetic looks so weird in real life. I would hate to be here, actually. This is probably my nightmare. Like, POV, first off, the camera is tilted, sorry. The recording experience is awful. Wait, maybe I can bring it down to my belly button. Oh, that's good. Yeah, now you're my belly button. That's nice. That's really good. That's really good. One, the chairs are in a very awkward position. Not that they're bad, but this is... I don't understand reception chairs. I actually think receptionist chairs, where all you can do is stare at the receptionist, is its own version of hell. I actually hate these so much. I go to the doctor, and the receptionist takes my name and is like, "Okay, wait over there. We'll call you shortly." And I'm like, "Okay, sure, cool. I'll be here." And then we just stare at each other. You stare at them for like half an hour, maybe even upwards of an hour, sometimes even like multiple hours, and you're just there looking at them, and they're looking at their computer, and everyone acts like this is normal. Like I would rather face the wall. I'd rather look into this like proverbial donut butthole here. Maybe I should put it at eye level. If I put this at eye level, is that annoying to me? No, not really. In a way, it's actually even better because you actually see what I see. Although maybe not tilted. There we go. Now you see what I see. That's a lot better, actually. Now I can actually judge fairly and think about the shot in a much more practical manner. Again, the difficulties of streaming in VR, recording in VR, and trying to make content in the VR, it feels like you're actually directing something and thinking about the perspective. Like, I feel like I'm storyboarding 24/7. Like, I would rather stare into this butthole than I would have to just stare at the receptionist doing nothing. Which is crazy, because you would think that's like a bad thing, but no, it's actually more preferable because there's just less emptiness. There's like less deadness in both of our eyes, in the both of our time. There we go. Is it good? What the fuck? It's so slanted. Holy shit. Is there not an auto level function? Like, is there not a way to automatically level this to the floor? This is hell. This is torture. This is actual torture. Anyways, I've changed my policy on subs. Don't sub anymore. I actually don't think it's worth it. But because I'm thinking of making money another way, it's more of a personal thing. But I actually do think it's interesting that there's a parallel between this and the money that players will pay for games, and sort of how much people think a game is worth, right? If it costs you like X amount of dollars to make something, and then it's all based on market value, how is it that Silksong is necessarily worth more or less something like Assassin's Creed, right? It's a very subjective matter, but that's sort of interesting to think about because it applies to everything. You might look at a piece of art and go, this isn't worth anything, but to others, it's like this is a life-changing, profound experience. And in thinking about that, it makes the challenges of VR even harder because you have such a small consumer base with a very high level of taste that isn't willing to part with their money. But even in spaces that are casual, I sort of alluded to this before, they wouldn't spend the money in the first place. Like, somebody who watches streams, they're gonna look at the stream and then go, what's the point of spending money for this? But as somebody who has now been on the other side, okay, and in many ways me doing this stuff is sort of like putting my money where my mouth is, I realized I was wrong about how hard it is to make a good stream. It is hard. It's hard to make a very good stream because it takes a lot of effort to plan things, to think about how these things are going to interact on the stream. Obviously, not everyone does this. It's why I talk about the idea of slop streamers, because it's like not everything is the same level of quality, right? But of the things that are quality, man, you can tell that there's a quality to it that you cannot replicate otherwise, and that if you could, you would feel the same way in terms of like how little you actually make from it. Not to say that I feel jilted by this. I do this for fun. It's sort of my own experiments. But I can sort of see why communities grow and die. And I actually see parallels to this to the open source community too, which is sort of lowercase open source, not uppercase, where it's like the capitalist sort of like co-opted version of it. The idea of a developer spending all of their time for free to make something, and you have some asshole coming into the issue saying like, why isn't it like this, you're stupid. It's like, what is going on? People really genuinely don't know the value of things, and you see this all the time. It's why the stock market is literally the game that it is. In my mind, something like the stock market is the game that it is because most people can't recognize the value of something. Because it's just very difficult to, but also because, you know, there's market forces and you can't predict things, but also because literally people just wouldn't even see it even if it was obvious. I don't think there's an easy way to do anything or to make something so easy that anybody could figure it out. I actually think that's a race to the bottom, because at some level, sure, you can make it accessible as you want, but there's always going to be somebody who just won't put in the effort to understand something. And at that point, it's just a losing game. You make it super simple, but what do you really gain out of it? This is an old ass Sony television. You know, I kind of get the aesthetic now. This is MSN, old ass Sony TV. You have the hangout area. This actually is kind of a corporate office back in like the early to mid 2010s ish. This is actually kind of what I could probably see. Well, not 2010 ish, maybe like even earlier, but. In like the 2010s, I still remember coming to some places and I was like, wow, this aesthetic still is holding out. Granted, there were older buildings, but still, it's still there. Just not with this color scheme. Nor with the level of polish. If somebody put me into a plastic room and it looked like this, I wouldn't feel comfortable. This is where dreams, like hopes and dreams, go to die. And for some reason, it's all about Windows Vista! What happened to Windows XP? I thought the whole thing was like a Windows XP thing. But hey, I can use you to level my view now. Okay, good. So if I use to level my view, if I look at the bottom, please just slowly go over. Please just... I fucking hate this. There really is no auto level feature on the camera? There has to be. Behavior. Look at me, auto level roll. When enabled, the camera lens roll is... Okay, me clapping in VR does not sound nearly as good. I don't think it sounds nearly as good. That's the trick. Okay, now it actually does look so much better. Wow, it actually looks really good. I really should have done this from the first place. In the first place, sorry. My English is getting... Yeah, all in all, VRChat, chat, I can sort of see why this platform has grown the way that it has, and I can also see why the platform is so appealing, right? There really is a unique experience here, but it's also, like, I can see why they've made these decisions, like these stores and these various paid avatar things. Like, they gotta make money somehow, and they're not making money normally, because it's like, nobody wants to pay for stuff, you know what I mean? And even even the value proposition of what you pay for, it's like, you would pay for this game if it was paid. Like, I think the majority of people would actually subscribe to this if it was a paid experience, because you can't get you can't get a level of fidelity like this elsewhere. You know what I mean? Obviously, it'd be a race to the bottom, because then it's like, oh, well, now you go to the metaverse or something. But I think people would actually pay for this. But that number is so vanishingly small that because the majority of people just don't recognize the value of something like this. Like, people don't recognize that this is some amazing stuff here. Even something like this, which doesn't seem like it'd be super complex, it's about the experience that you get from it. Anyways, we're gonna go somewhere new now. We're actually gonna go to the movie world. The thing about the movie world that I found out is that we can't talk about it. So it's also apparently the worst kept secret because it's very obvious what you do for the movie world. And now we're done with the idea of like talking about VR chat and shit. Oh god, that's so spicy. Okay, so there's my rant about VR. There's my rant about content creation. There's my rant about creating of any kind. I'm somebody who's in this like weird mixed space where I both create things that have real tangible uses in real life. I've worked on things that have real tangible uses in real life for free as part of the open source sort of mindset. And I also am now somebody who now makes content that could be considered, I guess, in some form content. And now that I've gained all these perspectives, I can earnestly say there's just not enough money that it's not worth it. And people are really bad at like recognizing value of what you do, I think. It's just sort of the curse. It's just the curse of any industry. It's really hard to convince people that this is all worth it. Put this right here. This is good. Okay. I need to hide the screen for 1 second. So I need to go over here. I need to do this. And I need to enter a spot. I don't need a VIP room, I don't think. But if I do, I can pay for it really quickly. But I didn't try this out, so we'll have to see. You can't see anything yet, sorry. You son of a... The one thing I do hate about VR is that there's this weird problem that I always have, is that it, for some reason, loves to try and open things into this weird desktop see all windows mode, and I don't really understand why. It just feels like a... Like, I get the point of it for a control thing, but it just feels like a weird hack on top of having it actually be... Instead of having it actually be like a... Like, how do I say this? The way it handles your desktop windows in VR is actually the worst experience because it feels like a weird hack just to make it work instead of like a real tailored experience that should be default. Jesus Christ, it's way too loud. So I go here. Current time. If you do join, you do need to have the whatchamacallit. The untrusted URL things on. Let me see untrusted URL. Untrusted URL. Shield levels, no. Graphics, no. User interface, no. Comfort and safety. Allow direct sharing. View prints from everyone. What could you possibly take? I guess you could take a nude print and then, you just show up, I guess. Streamer mode. Friend request will be automatically declined. Your location will be hidden. Okay, well, it's a good thing I'm always on like a VPN of some kind, but what do you mean my location? What? What location? Like, it's too late, buddy. I'm already being found. So, boom, boom, oops. Boom, 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 boom. The volume might be way too loud there too, sorry. Okay. Today's KINO session is we're gonna watch KPop Demon Hunter. I know that's a weird movie to watch, but all I know about KPop Demon Hunter is this video. So let me first find this video. Trying to find it. Also, I'm trying to find this thing. I'm trying to find the link. Oh god. This is the other pain point of VR. The switch between VR and non-VR. Give me like a, I don't know, like a easier keyboard mode, and I think this will work. How do I turn this goddamn music off? Like, what's the point of playing lo-fi if this is a movie world where people come to play goddamn movies? Oh, chat, oh my god, the videos got deleted. No! There's no way the videos got deleted. What? Chat, the Rumi is Pregnant song got deleted. I have to show you a shittier version. What? There's no way. It actually got deleted. No. That was the whole point of today. Was to gain context on like, what is this? Rumi is pregnant. Is pregnante. It got deleted? I didn't even save it. Because I thought it would stay forever. Because, oh, my verification, my identity, verify. Please verify your connection and try again. Okay, sure, thanks, buddy. Alright, what is the verify connection thing? What do you mean my connection is dropped? I'm still here! I've done nothing! Why did you put me back here? Ugh. Whatever. What? Kenshi Yonezu? Iris out. Uh-huh. What is this? Is this like a sponsored character? I'm not really sure what this is. That sucked. Well, okay. Well, I can't show you the video of what I was thinking of, like the thing. So instead, we just have to move on. There's a Sanrio virtual festival? What the fuck? Wait, hold on. Wait, maybe we just go there first. The next VR chat stream is gonna be maybe like next week on stream. So this might be worth it to just go to now. Although it depends on how long this thing lasts. I don't really know how long this thing lasts. Sanrio VFES virtual. Okay, well, what is this though? How do I see the name of the world without going into this one? That was close. Sanrio VFES friends only join. This is a good sidetrack thing. And again, I'm sad that that YouTube account got deleted. Understandable, it was entirely stolen content, so it's not like it's a huge loss, but it is a loss to me as somebody who enjoys slop content of some kind. It was fun slop content. At this point, this is just a normal VR chat stream, and I could just stream on Twitch and then kill the stream in like 5 minutes. Like, it wouldn't be too hard for me to do that, and then just drop off somewhere else. Sanrio Pure Land. The camera's too high up, I'm so sorry. Why does it look like a Dark Souls map, man? You see what I mean? Okay, you think it's not worth it to spend money on this? Buddy, look at this. If you think it's not worth it to spend money on VR Chat Worlds, this is my counter argument that Sanrio, the company that has Hello Kitty money, which is apparently one of the largest IPs in the world, makes a Dark Souls version of Sanrio World. Like, there's a fucking fog wall? I don't want to go here, man. It looks terrifying. What is it? It looks like a horror theme thing. What's funny is that because I'm not actually here live, it's just... Is that a sex toy? Not sorry, you can't see the thing on the table. This thing. I thought this was a sex toy. I guess that character is also a sex toy. Stymore. Wow, it's actually a really nice design. It's a bit androgynous, so either way fits. Wow. Sonia Sanrio Digital Collection. There's no way. Dude. What do you mean Sanrio... Nyantasia? What the hell does this mean? Is this like a Nyanners thing? What the fuck is this? What is this? Is this like a Nyanners appreciation like thing? What? Or does Nyanners have her own store? Like her and Lloyd Athelstan, do they have their own VI chat store? The fuck is this? What is Nyantasia? The Kuromi? The shop. Okay, we're gonna enter the fog wall. I don't know what this is. Again, going into this solo is way more terrifying. Why is there so much fog? Why is there so much fog? Some of these look insane. That's a real person. It's kind of weird to see a real person in this space. Because it's like, who are you? Mochipoli Factory. How long is this gonna be on? Is I gonna wait for you to see the time and the day? I don't know. I don't want to do this off stream. I feel like this is a whole experience that you have to do on stream just to show. We had to go watch the movie. Unfortunately, the example that I was going to use is now gone. So we have to just Go ahead, watch the movie yourselves. And I don't know what to expect. I'm actually a bit terrified of watching something like K-pop Demon Hunter because I watched whatchamacallit, the Minecraft movie in an attempt to be closer to my niece and my nephew, only to realize that none of them watched it. So again, this is sort of this idea of like I need to keep up with the times, and in doing so, right? It's a bit like I know this is sort of egotistical to say. It's a bit like Roger Ebert. This area beyond will be reworked soon. We hope that you like the fresh new looks. What? Bruh, that's terrifying. Oh shit, there's a real room. There's actually a movie theater room! Let's go! How do I sit in the chairs? Okay, well, these are the ads. Not that they're bad ads. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the furry stuff. I'm just saying that, like, now I see the ads. Like, now I see the ads. Who needs the sun when you have the moon, Luna Moore, and Valsifer? Twitch.tv/HyperFoxVR. Join my next stream. Oops. Twitch.tv/HyperFoxVR. This is very loud, isn't it? I can't even tell. It is insanely loud. Stop. I swear to fucking God, you give me the goddamn desktop view and you slip all my fucking windows into a goddamn card configuration one more fucking time, I'm gonna eat you. Hey there, I'm just a streamer here to try to make people smile and laugh. Starting soon from 6 days ago. What happened to them? Are they dead? What happened? You can't see this.
Well, you can sleep here if you want to. Fuck.
I'm not laughing because their content is bad. I'm not laughing because the content is bad. Just, I recognize when something isn't for me. You know what I mean? Like, I know when something isn't for me. Stay in the goddamn window! I recognize when something isn't for me. You gotta be honest with yourself when you do stuff like this. One thing that I've noticed is in doing stuff like this is that building a sense of real honesty about what you like and you don't like is incredibly important. Not because it's a bad thing that I don't like it. It's not because it's a bad stream. It's just because, like, it's just not something that I would watch, right? It's just the way it is. X.com/HoloX. Assets renders. Soul. And do people really do these? Merry Christmas, my love. This is, like, again, it's like the idea of you hire a plane and you do the smoke show. And, oh my god! It's Ghibli AI. What is it? Who is in the back? Is that it's like an AI Coldplay. There's an AI Coldplay, and then there's AI Ghibli in front, and then I Love You, My Dandelion. Finally updated this to say fuck you. That's funny. Immortal 1 and Solarius Lou. What happened to only dating for a week? What happened to only dating for a week? You know what's actually, it's interesting because you can technically say this about any couple in the world. You actually can say this about every single couple, where it's like every couple dates only for a week. There's actually like no couple, like every couple has the same, so you have to date first to be able to be together, right? That's not an uncommon thing to say. So it's like, it's funny to think about, but like everybody, it sounds cute, but it's actually the most generic statement that you could think of. My wife and I, we were just like, yeah, we'll just hang out for a bit. Boom, all of a sudden, now we're together forever. You just don't know. The Dirty XO, Club Nights. What? Looking for a troll-free accepting adult group. We have West Jesus. What? West Jesus? Vibe with Quan. KJXO. The Dirty XO. VRC.group/grown. Okay. Yo, are you grown? Are you grown? 0758. Under 25, Joan XO Squad. Wow. You grown or you not grown? That's just, I don't know. Even just saying the word grown, it sounds weird. It's like just as weird as saying, are you young? You know what I mean? G-spot. Holy shit! G-spot loves Lisa. The G-spot events. What? Tuneful Tuesdays, Thursdays, Friday films with friends. We also host private events on demand with custom-made pictures and videos and audio. Wait, what other ads have I been missing? The ads are loading for me now. Metaboo. We build with metaboos in mind. What the fuck is a metaboo? What is that, like a new weeaboo? Shoryu Legacy. Shoryu Legacy. I love you. Pokey and Alex. Oh yeah, you can't see it because the thing is like down. Okay, because it auto levels now. I'll put the camera by my crotch. It's like I'm jerking off. Why don't I get Kenny and we'll go for ice cream? Bingo. Digital artist. HBT. What? That's the worst font I've ever seen. Do you see this shit? That's the worst fucking font I've ever seen in my life. What is that? A T or is that a Y? A diver DJ. What? The Thirst Trap. Okay, what is this? Can I click on this? If I can click on this, like this, then this might be the best game ever. I don't have a laser, so probably not. Wait, maybe I can. What is actually the point of some of these ads? Because some of these ads are like, what am I looking at? How do I know what this is? Nox Vitae, cross-verification Discord bot. Uses VChat H verification, but for your Discord server. What? Utilizes VRChat's age verification for your. That's actually genius. You piggyback off of the service of somebody else, of an entirely different, thing, and you use that to help you. A big goober X times a small dork. That's a good math. Nix FBT trackers. What? Ready to start your FBT experience. Nix. New and improved ICM module. That sounds like an ICBM. YouTube Jigglybuff. Are there any other streamers? What? No. North Kitten. What? North Kitten? Why the fuck is that? Why do they choose these fonts? And what does it matter what time this is? What? Who is this person? ARG, okay. You have Awaken the Flame in You, Feel Our Fire, Sky Fox the Dragon. Holy shit, there's a whole wall of ads. Oh my god, there's a whole wall of ads. Look at this shit. We'll start with the bottom. Hollow X, okay. Janie Uwu, what am I doing with my life? So true, Janie. So true. I love you to the moon and back. Bass Mike. Bass mic is a bass or is a bass mic? If you're a furry, okay, this is a good okay POV. You're a furry, so when you put the BASS in your name, people are like, oh, that's bass, not bass. You know what I mean? Like drop the bass. So like because they're furry, they're bass mic but not bass mic. It's good. Love Zaki. Letitia. Friday Night Flicks. Wait, what? Hosted by Encrypted. Crypty.01. What is the numbers? J Jizzbomb. Now practicing the creed and pride. I'm glad that you're practicing pride, but like, did you have to name yourself Jizzbomb? Was that a necessary component of the entire experience to name yourself Jizzbomb? SL a more easy peasy chess. Always and forever, easy peasy chess. It's so funny to see these names and to see the avatars that they choose and the looks that they choose for themselves. Not because it's a bad thing. I actually think that's one of the strengths of this platform is that you can be who you want to be, right? I mean, we literally see this in my fellow co-streams, my fellow co-hosts sometimes on these streams. But it's funny to see that this buff-ass person is playing chess. Okay? There's just something. It's just like a whiplash of like, you? Chess? Easy peasy chess? Mine forever. His kitten, her puppy. Sorry, I hate the term kitten. And I hate the term puppy so much. It's not even like their fault. It's just a phrase. It's not their fault. It's just a tainted phrase in my mind through various interactions. Hey, but you know what? These are cool. Now I see the ads. What other ads am I missing? Holy shit. Neferti. Neferti, biker queen badass, professional voice actor. Neferti. Can I go to their stream? I actually don't remember who else's streams we've checked out. Twitch.tv/Neferti. Hey, real person. And they were streaming as of 2 days ago.
Welcome in. I hope your Wednesday has been a good one.
Oh yeah, I can't watch them. They're playing Silk Song and they're at roughly the same zone that I was, so I can't watch them because it's pure spoilers. Okay, cool. That's cool. We had to step away. Sorry. Anytime somebody plays Silk Song and they get a little bit close to my spot, I have to say sorry. I can't see you anymore. Bye. VRC join today. Events and games. Oh, what the hell happened to the camera? Sorry. That's funny. Why did it level exactly 90 degrees sideways? VRChat ID linker. Link VRChats with your thing. Stripe Club. What was that sex club? You know the one with the Christian Bible group? Twitch.tv/casual VR. How? What? Twitch.tv/William12B. Will12B. Miss Meow. Twitch.tv/Miss Meow VR. I'm realizing there's a lot of Twitch advertisements for people's channels here. I didn't realize how hot the scene was for advertising your stream here. I would actually, okay, you know what? Maybe I should donate to this and do like a goatee. Just have a goatee image. Like, would they say no? Probably, but it'd be funny as fuck. If you're a dancer, visual ASMR artist, comfort. What is a visual ASMR? Aren't the people who are listening to ASMR like not looking at the screen? Isn't that the point of ASMR? True Gear VR suit. You know, one time, one of my only vacations that I've ever taken in life was to a resort in Mexico because it was cheap. You know, it was very, very cheap. And it was like, okay, well, we might as well go once in our life. You know, now that I have a job, we can just try it out. I go, we get off the airplane, you know, we get on the bus that takes us there. On the way there, one of the military cars drives by. Dude is strapped up on the top back of the military car with like a Gatling gun, like he has a machine gun on it. And I was like, oh, but he's actually manning the machine gun as it's driving down the highway. Highway has walls and it's barbed wire like on top of the walls. And you know, at the time I used Facebook. I would go on Facebook. One of the things I saw on Facebook was the marketplace. The marketplace is fun to check out, and it's tailored to where you are. So I didn't know that. So I checked the marketplace, and what it says is Chaleco Tactico for like 2,500, whatever the currency is. Tactical body vest. Tactical bulletproof body vest. And the reason why I'm talking about this, because it looks the exact same as this vest. They also misspelled feedback. They spelled it feedback. Or maybe that's the point. Feedback points. Maybe feedback is not feedback, but feedback is their own. Maybe it's okay to let go. Just don't forget who you are. Do you know the Muffin Man? Do you know the Muffin Man? What? You know, I'm 14. You're 14. Oh no. You're single. I'm single. Discord? Maybe? Do you know how much you mean to me? Do you know... When you see the text, do you know the Muffin Man? You think it's a shitpost. But that's just what 14-year-olds think of. Because honestly, as somebody who's raising or like a teenager at this point, they don't know what the fuck is going on. They don't know what the fuck is going on. They're still trying to figure out who they are. It's fucking funny. And it reminds me of me when I was younger. Mad Manic Makers, Trashy Raccoon, new merch shop now open. HTTPS short URL. I'm not typing that in. Ayami ASMR. My friend that started on YouTube doing ASMR. I'd appreciate if you show her some love. From Pikachu, with lots of love. Sorry, you are now getting sued by Nintendo. Now or never. The first Alu in the Galaxy player immersed Emma said the Fox. Emma said Fox.live. That's sick. You make a domain name. It's not a real website, but you just go straight to your socials. Genius. I swear my website will be done soon. Nox Vitae, same thing. I'm surprised they pay for multiple ads, which also makes me still wonder, like what. It really does feel like a Ponzi scheme that you only make money off of the players within the space. Owo me VR. Disconnected. Why am I getting disconnected? What am I doing wrong? VR chat. Why do you hate me? Why are you banning me from your space? Let me in! Let me in! Alright, fuck you. We'll do a truly private world that's invite only. I think this is the only one that actually makes it work. Man, I hope the ads don't reroll, you know? I really hope the ads are static in some way. I really want to see more of those types of ads. Maybe, is there a world? There should be a world that is just advertisements. Like, you know that one scene in Futurama where in Futurama, Fry and like the whole team goes into the cyberspace thing? There's like a shit ton of ads floating around. That's what I want to see. Just a pure cacophony of ads. Like, it'd be just like that space where it's like the 1 pixel thing where you pay money, $1 a pixel, and there's 1,000,000 pixels, and you take that pixel as your space, right? Because now look, the ads aren't loading. Fuck. Fuck. The ads are gone. Fuck. They don't reroll. They don't reroll. This could be doable. You go in and out, it kind of works. Okay, wait. Have I been down here? Yes. Have I been inside here? Yes. Have I been over here? No. Insatiable. I mean, what the fuck are you advertising? Every day we step closer and closer towards communism. The IO needs you. Work the soil, secure your place. Suck. Sita's unique creations. Come experience and explore your true souls here at Suck. What's your name? XX Muncher XX. Coming this way, I advise against it. Secret? This is a TV. Okay, what the fuck is this? Secret. I don't know what this is. That's a cute photo. Holy shit, this place is huge. Well, I didn't realize this place is so massive. You're a goober. Thanks. You'll be my forever and my always. Okay, I've seen you twice now. Jinxie. Vera Marketplace. I've seen you twice now. FOF. What? FOE. Family over everything. What the hell is this? Dude, some of these are like gang signs, man. This is the type of shit that when I was in school, my friends who were gang members used to say. Like they would let me see it because they knew that I was a neutral party and I didn't give a shit. You know what I mean? Like I did not care and I treated them the same, so they were chill with me. But like, this is the slogans that they would use to bait you into joining the gang. Like I'm not kidding you. This is a real stop. So blow your mind. Learn the world's smallest language in only 132 words. Become fluent in 3 months. Oh, Toki Pona Sin. Apparently there's a game based on this. It's a real language that somebody made. VRChat ID linker, say I've seen you. Fluffy.VRC, Mrs. Fluffy _. This is another streamer. Can I check another streamer? For some reason VRChat doesn't like me doing this. I don't know why. Twitch.tv/Mrs. Fluffy. And now you see why my name on Twitch is the way it is. Because it's fucking impossible to get your name in VRChat. It's actually impossible to get your name. Their highlights are from last year. I don't know what else they've been doing because there's no recent VOD, which means they haven't made anything recently. Their schedule is probably empty. You know, also, it's interesting to sort of think about, but streaming, the dropout rate is immense. I've really noticed that the dropout rate for the space is insane because of the amount of effort that goes into doing something like this. Come along for fun live streams and lots of laughter and nuggies. I do love chicken nuggets. The camera moved. Search Akami Tenchi. What? Isn't Akami Tenchi like a video game? I swear there's like a tension thing or like a Tenchu thing. Wildwander.-vr.com. Okay, what is this website? Why don't I just go to this website and I show you? Well, what's the problem with that? This could be just a wildwanderer-vr.com. Wow. It's one of those sites that is like the It's like that thingamabob. I forget how to say it. It's like that type of site where it's like a link site. It's very similar to that, but it's also a bit of a profile of theirs, and you can listen to their live stream. They have a low latency stream link. X Twitter, do not use this toxic platform. On TikTok, Spotify, really stream on Twitch. Wild Wanderer, and then again, they're long gone. You're gonna see me walk off a bit. I need to stop this thing from spinning. Oh shit. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Oh shit. Oh god. I turn on the fan, but I have a thing hanging off the fan, which is going crazy. But okay, we'll get back into space. Get back in space. I'm back in cyberspace. Fuck! Why do you keep... Good. Okay. Samantha loves Billy. Stop with the fancy fonts! Stick with something. Use Helvetica! It's vetted. Use Helvetica. I'm begging you. It's actually just vetted. It just works. I thought that said lactation. Last station, 18 plus verified community, the Lunar Court. Join now to make your fantasy a virtual reality. What does that even mean? The thing about these are so vague as to what they give me. Like, because the thing is, right, if you advertise giveaways, and I'm going to tell you this as somebody who has had to run groups like this. If you advertise a giveaway, people are only going to be there for the giveaway. You have to advertise what is the core message of what it is that you guys are doing. Like, think deep about what it is that you are. Flirtual, your VR dating app. Maybe, no, it would be bad to join that and then just leave them. Gender fluid face tracking. Clothing options, that's a costume, or like an avatar. What else is there? This is this whole basement side. Okay, this is a whole rising new furry Twitch streamer. I'm sorry to say, there are hundreds of you. Thousands, even. Like, there's actually no way that you're rising. Not because you're a bad streamer. There's actually just way too many streamers. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. That's cute. The what? Artificial Intelligence the movie. 9/8/2042. Okay, that's a fake poster, but that's cool. Midnight Franzi. I'm glad I found you. Moonlight. One person. 1,000,001 memories. Nico X Twisky. You will always be my cutie. Azzy and Sarah. Fuck that. Fuck you. Fuck yeah, fuck you. Fuck me, fuck you. Sweeter than a chocolate chip. I said fuck me, fuck you, and viewer chat kicked me off. What? Is there a censorship model? Wait a minute, is there a censorship model in this game that hears certain words and it kicks you off? Is that why? Or is it that my internet is actually dying? I don't know. No, it's not my internet. Clearly everything works, so it keeps kicking me out. It is a censorship thing. Fuck me, fuck you! Fuck me, fuck you! Fuck me, fuck you! Fuck me, fuck you! Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck. There's no censorship thing happening. Why does it keep kicking me out every time I say like something weird? Maybe it's just coincidence. Maybe it's just coincidence that it kicks me out as soon as I swear. Probably just coincidence. Probably just coincidence. What are the ads are? Courage conquers fear. Keep pushing forward. You are never alone in this journey. AI art. It's cool. Twitch HyperFox_VR. I thought that said Imagine Wagons. I thought that said Meat Wagons. Imagine Wagons. Forever in mine. I love you, Spady. Nathan XK. Double Friday. We want you. Join the Flying Furries today. I like how they do. Why is there so like? Why is it all? It seems like recruitment posters. You know what I mean? Like it's just funny the way that everything is done, like a recruitment poster for the Navy or something. It's like join the Navy. Here's a gun, and here's your gun and your tactical fursuit. Now get the shoot. Velvet vibes. Manga Omega lol. Avatars. Commission your own avatar. Optimize models. Jinxie. I've actually noticed like the avatar marketplace, it's very expensive to make avatars. Also, that's sick because imagine being this person who paid for this slot. You literally can't see it. Sorry, but you got scammed. These avatars are very expensive. All of these are like easily you can get them for like a couple thousands of dollars. Tasty, a free and open source speech to text for VR chat. Oh, this is to type things into for the mutes, right? The ones who choose not to speak. What? What does this mirror do, Professor? It shows us nothing, more or less, and it gives us what? Gaming PC. What? Gaming PCs were not corpo. All join the inferno. Gaming PCs prices. There's no way. NeonInfernoComputers.com. No shot. They do build PCs. Radeon RX 9060, an RTX 3050 for $803.93 as a full PC build. Starting from CPU 12,100. You know what? The price isn't bad, especially when you consider that it's a more bespoke creator. So it's like you kind of have to be able to do this. And you have to sort of go for that price range. It's not the worst thing in the world. And it is actually comparable to even the ones that I would say are a bit more scammy, right? So it's like, that's actually a pretty cool thing that someone's doing. And if you're gonna make a tech store of all the places, although I will say it's funny that they're doing it here because presumably most people who are VR probably have a PC that's good enough already. So you really bank on like a Quest player wanting to switch. But how often is a Quest player going to want to switch? I mean, how far you are, my brothers are 18 plus community. You're only the few are chosen to walk among the angels. Game nights, movie nights, dance lessons. Okay, Nox Vitae. Alright, cool. That's cool. No room. Private room management. What is even a private room? Let's just try this. What did I expect? Can I leave? Wow. Honestly, seeing the ads load in, it's actually kind of cool, and I really did miss out. 2-0. What? Wait, look at the anime girl with the microphone up to her face about to rap. That's funny. Live rap concerts only in VR chat. That's the thing that's interesting, is that this crossover into VR is going to be so cool to see. Because before, people would go out in the streets and like do this stuff. Because, you know, you just go to like a random place. You go to like a bar, or you just do it like busker style. But now you don't have to. You can do it in a virtual space, stream it live. Like there's a whole new avenue. TTS Voice Wizard, a voice for everyone. Wow, I can speak with my friends from all around the world. This is the wall of ads I couldn't see last time. Come shock me. Come shock me. There's no way this person's wearing a shock collar. Flinacci. Oh, like on the one hand, they're gonna be they're like a super soldier because you literally can't tase them. On the other hand, that must not be countable long term. Every inch of me knows it belongs to every inch of you. That's every fold of my vaginal canal knows it's yours. Every single millimeter of the space under the foreskin belongs to you. Siblings forever. Huh? The only good weed is a pulled weed. Isle of Dragons. Fluffy Shenanigans and Syndicate. We make avatars. We bag golf clubs. This is some fascinating stuff. Like some truly fascinating stuff is happening in space. I love you. Christoph. Blues VRC, ASMR, roleplay, and more. Exfil Zone, Contractor Showdown. I did see that last time. Hello everyone, there's a Splatoon person that looks like they're covered in cum, but they're also like massively tittied. You can tell because that's like the top of their boob. Why? That thing is a huge ass. What the? Commission open, contact me. Live 2D model. It's like you want to advertise that you draw porn. Like you want to advertise that you draw hentai, but you can't have a hentai ad. So you make the ass of the character massive. I want you to join. Looking for something past the time just to watch a goofy redneck play some games and holler Goofy redneck, echo the red flame. Awaken your real nature. Tasty, 3 years down, forever to go. He's my future, my pretty boy. Why are the lights flickering? What? Soundproof? No. What's this? Okay, I was gonna say, like, if there's no TV, that room is just for sex. I was gonna say. But also, I think it is, because it's like, this is your soundproof zone. Like, you go in there if you want privacy. One thing I do find funny is that people have a really good sense of sociability on this platform. Like, obviously, there's always trolls, right? Like, learning last time that the Ugandan Knuckles was here. Summit Court? You can go to court? Is one thing. But it really does seem like a lot of people treat it like a real space. Because it technically is. Like, it is weird to think about the sense of space. Like, even in VR, getting close to somebody to hear them talk is kind of unnerving. Because it's like, I'm getting way too close and this is weird. You know what I mean? It's a very interesting effect. Anyways, cool ads. We have to move on. Time to watch the movie. I need to figure out what the room is. Cinema. Here we go. I just realized that's a pacifier. Nothing wrong with that. I just don't. That's just wow. This moves here. We move it here. There is a secret to this website that you kind of saw before that I have to cut out in editing, which is going to be very annoying. To this world. So the world can't have movies loaded into it because it's against the law. But if you just allow loading any link, then it doesn't really matter, right? Because it's like, oh, it's just people loading in links. You can just load in whatever links that you want. There's nothing wrong with you loading in a random link, and you can't stop people from loading in links. It's the same reason. So I learned this drama. Basically, when these worlds first came out, what happened is that they initially had movies as part of them. That's stupid because you just instantly get banned, right? However, eventually what happened is that, you know, it was even more than stupid because the game started to get delisted on various app stores. And so what happened is that they had to stop these worlds from happening, and so they banned them. And then what happened is that the worlds were recreated with a new paradigm. And that paradigm was, we don't load anything into the world itself. You have to load it yourself. It's a bit like a browser where, you know, you don't have any control over the browser. Like if the user of a browser wants to have certain content in it, you know, that's on them, right? They decide to have that content on the screen using the browser. It's not really the concern of the people who made the browser. That's just the consequence of what a browser is, right? And so it's very similar to this one. It's apparently the best well-known kept secret because, it's like the world's worst known kept secret or something. Because you just join the Discord and they tell you instantly. So if I go like this, and I go like this, and then I won't show you, but there's other videos that show you, and even the Discord has it right there. And you don't even need to pay a donation, which is crazy. You just go to this very sketchy website, which I'm sure is totally fine. You can watch whatever you want. Obviously, this is sort of a legal gray area. And by gray, I mean, like, you know, the walls of a prison are gray. But does that really matter? Not really. So it works out pretty well for us. And on this site, 1, this is a real website. 2, they have actually every single movie. 3, I'm really hoping that there's a movie called Another Gay Movie. There's Shrek. There's no way. I'm really hoping that this site has shitty ads. Like, I'm hoping that this site has shitty ads. My dream is that this site has shitty ads, and then it's like a porn ad or something. Like, it's just a full-on virus ad. That's what I hope for. Here we go. KPop Demon Hunters. I saw it on the list last time, so I knew it was kind of there, but I wasn't sure how it would work, but this should work. Okay, I click the play button. It's loading something. It's loading the movie. I don't know what to expect from this movie. I just know that this movie is the hottest thing at the moment. Which is crazy. Because you wouldn't expect it to be, oh my god. It's ripped straight from Netflix. That's actually impressive. They somehow ripped it straight from Netflix. I mean, it sort of makes you wonder, right? who's funding the whole operation to make that possible. Because it's like, it's impressive that they could even store this stuff, given the size of some of these movies. And then again, the reason why we're watching this is because there was a really funny video involving one of the characters getting pregnant, and I was like, I don't know the lore of it, I just know that they're getting pregnant, and I wanted to learn more about what this stuff was, instead of just the characters being pregnant, because it doesn't make any sense why it is that they're getting pregnant. I need to recenter my character really quick. How do I recenter it, VR? There we go. Wait, this is like an actual lore. I genuinely, I thought it was just about K-pop singers. What do you mean they're demons? I thought the Demon Hunter portion of it was just a joke. Oh, okay. So I get kind of what they're going for. It's very similar to something like High School Musical. In a way, this movie has the same DNA of High School Musical, where the ability for somebody to sing song determines their status within the world, right? Their power within the world. I look like, you know, the man from Mass Effect 2 when he brings back Shepard. It's very similar. Wait, so these poor women get reincarnated as singers the entire time? Yes, my lady. And so now they're on K-pop tour. Okay, so this is what's funny about K-pop is that a lot of K-pop was manufactured initially. Sorry, my volume is too loud on my end. You can hear it feedback. A lot of it was manufactured by the government. Not to say that that's like a bad thing. It's not like a government conspiracy, but to say that a lot of it was designed to try to push people towards that form of media in just even without any real sense of like what it, even without any real sense of like if whether or not they liked it. Like, it was interesting how much of it was manufactured to try to build like a huge audience for it in order to drive like a new sort of like age and era of South Korean media dominance called the Hallyu Wave, right? However, it's also sort of like happenstance too, where it's like, oh, they see it happening and then they keep supporting it, right? It's a great concept because it ends up that we have some pretty cool music and some interesting explorations at times. But it's funny to see this movie sort of try to give more of a message to the idea of what it is, in a way, where they're trying to make it feel almost magical, even though in real life, a lot of it is manufactured because like you have the songwriters, a lot of the artists who perform the thing, even though not to discount their talent at like singing and performance and being able to like do all that stuff, but a lot of it is that they're just there as performance. This is the only thing that I know about the movie, that scene where she sniffs it and then it's like a gun. Yeah, that, see, I saw a meme edit of that where it's a gun. And it's interesting because I think a story like this, while it's fun to think about for kids, it sort of makes me wonder when we're going to get a story about the true sort of passion behind the art. Because even if these people aren't necessarily the songwriters, there's so much passion behind how they want to take the art and how well they want to perform for their fans, which sort of comes through in sort of the messaging. And also even some of the stories of some of these people, like the way that a lot of them just show up because they just randomly go through like a scouting process and they get picked up and it's like a dream come true for them, right? So that sort of makes you wonder, like, how come there's no story like that? When I feel like that's an interesting way of looking at it. But maybe it's because that comes through in interviews that they don't really bother. Yeah, this really is a kids movie. I can feel my patience and my desire to watch this waiting very quickly. The thing about kids movies, right, is that they're constructed very simply. Not to say that like they're bad to watch or that they're not good to watch, even as an adult, but just more so to say that like you don't really have to think about anything. You can almost just turn your brain off and react. It's literally react slop. Like you can turn your brain off and just react to the movie. Some fun things I did learn though. A lot of the singers for the show, it's not the same as the actors themselves. So the voice actors are completely different people compared to the singers. Some of the voice actors can sing, but the others, I don't think they can sing. Like Pro ZD is apparently one of the voice actors for one of the Korean characters here on the evil male boy band. But I don't think he can sing in real life. I did not know they would actually get real weapons. You know what? This is actually an interesting concept. It's literally, you don't realize it, it's the same concept as a Disney movie. Every Disney movie has the same construction. You have Snow White, you have things like Cinderella, and then they have musical segments. Every single one. Even Shrek, in many ways, had these like weird musical segments thrown throughout of it. Right? It's. I just think musicals are a great storytelling device because they're so easy to get into. Because especially if the melodies are simple, you can sort of get into it no matter who you are. And then because you're engaged with it from like a musical perspective, you can then continue that engagement through the rest of it. It breaks up the monotony of storytelling too. Like it's like not to say that most stories that every story is monotonous, but like you can really it takes a different type of patience to be able to sit through a musical versus something like a normal film, like say Tenet or something, right? Maybe Tenet's like a bad example. The music isn't that bad too. Like I actually watched this. The music is actually pretty interesting, but it's interesting because it's like it's the same type of way that K-pop music is today, where it's like incredibly manufactured to hit exactly those poppy notes. I don't know how to explain this other than every single pop song has a lot of the same elements in it, and it's this idea of like a punchy bass line, flashy dancing, personalities on stage, solo moments that emphasize like a person's sort of skill, but also draw your focus in such a way that you build a connection between the performer and the song, even if that isn't necessarily true. But then you also have these like very simple music structures, even as a whole, where it's like not even just the notes, but the idea of like the chorus. You keep repeating that over and over and over, and it's almost like an electronic or like like an EDM song where a lot of it you don't really need to care about what they're saying. You just vibe to it. And K-pop in particular is interesting. It's interesting to see that the songs are in English here because K-pop in particular within the West, most people have no clue what the fuck they're saying. Most people just hear the sounds and it just sounds cool. You know what I mean? It's like that one song where it's like, I don't know what they're saying. It's provocative, Not to say that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that like because of that, it can basically ignore a lot of the intricacies of the songwriting, just to use the voice as another instrument. It's very cool. I'm also surprised they went with such a visceral look for all the creatures. Is visceral the right word? For a very terrifying look for all the creatures, considering that this is supposed to be a kids movie. And even the complexities of sort of what this is, right? Not to say that kids can't learn this, but like it's interesting how the language of the film is really rated towards even like not even like a super young audience, but even like a maybe PG-13 audience. One that has a bit more capability to learn about the complexities of certain things. You just wouldn't really expect that from a kids movie. I think even most kids movies nowadays, a lot of the concepts are very simple, and the characters themselves aren't that terrifying. Though it does help. The one thing that I've noticed that it does help is that a lot of the Asian mythology and a lot of the sort of like Asian style of creatures and monster designs and stuff, a lot of it, because you haven't grown up with it, a lot of people don't have the same reaction to it, right? Like for me, zombies are like, oh, zombies, it's whatever. But like these are zombies too. But we just don't see them that way. It just looks like people within clothes. But you know, somebody who probably grew up with it is probably even more terrified. It's fascinating how much like fear is contextual. Like an Australian doesn't care about snakes. I'm pretty sure Australians don't even care about spiders. They're not afraid. It's very similar in concept to that. I don't know if that makes sense. The animation is also a very interesting style. I'm very surprised that they went with this style of animation where it's very Spider-Verse like, which is interesting because Spider-Verse is sort of the traditional way that animation used to be, where it'd be on like a lower frame rate, and they would like use that lower frame rate because that's all they had available to them. Like they didn't want to have to draw so many frames. Like there was an interesting timeline where 3D movies had this high level of fidelity and quality and like frame count to them. But one of the things that I sort of think about often is this idea of like why we still shoot film on such slow cameras. It's because the cinema look is a very particular look that when you move away from it, you end up in this like weird uncanny valley where it no longer feels like a movie. It feels like an entirely different experience. And this is the most animation looking that you can get with something like this, even in 3D, without it going into almost, you know, stop motion territory, which can feel its own level of uncanny, right? Like something like Caroline. As much as I love Caroline, pieces of it can definitely feel very unsettling compared to something like this or even Spider-Verse. Or how about what's that other movie? Jack Layton? What's it called? It's not Jack Layton, right? I swear that's a politician in like in the some movie Jack and the Jack Frost, Jack the Jackington, the Skellington, right? Very similar. That's Rumi. I actually sort of wonder what the impetus is for people wanting to you wanting to have people see your stuff. I've actually thought about this a lot. And oh wow, they actually do a full-on in-universe music video for this. Huh. That's a funny scene. I hate. Okay, it actually is the worst type of music video. I'll explain my thoughts more after I listen. Once the song is finished, because this whole segment is actually pretty damn good. Wait, she's marked. Is she a demon too? She's marked just like a demon. Oh, but I'm assuming no one else in her group knows because she's always covered. Also, it's bold that she only does a covering with a jacket because it's not like the jacket isn't gonna fall off, right? Or if it gets too hot. Oh god, the music video filming process looks so awkward. I kind of forgot how awkward it is behind the scenes. Her voice cracked. She can't sing. Okay, well, that was a cool song. That song is interesting because it's an interesting mix of different concepts that I think works very well for a kids movie, right? It's this talk of like the difference and why are you so different, and this idea of like wanting to fit in and trying to appease everyone and like appeal to different desires. It's a very uniquely childlike concern because when you're an adult, you're not appealing to anybody's desire but the realities of life where you need to make money to survive. But as a child, it's a very different set of concerns. Like when I talk to my niece and my nephews, their concerns are sort of, is it possible for me to be able to be who everyone wants me to be? Is it possible for me to be able to live up to their expectations and do these things? And then it's a huge pressure. It's the first time they're feeling this pressure, but it's also just a huge pressure in general, having to try to meet some standard of life, and having that encoded within the song and like being talked about. It's very fascinating. And then having this like in-universe music video, the reaction the same way that I think a lot of really popular bands have it here. It's fascinating to sort of see because it's the worst type of music video that I hate, because it's the music videos where they keep talking during the music video like I'm talking right now during the movie. It's very painful. And then it ties into the story because she has the mark of a demon. And this in particular is interesting because she has this like conflict in her mind, right? Where it's like what this group is doing and what they're trying to do is get rid of all the demons, but she has the mark of a demon. So what happens to her? Will she go away? And then it's like, oh, she's split between these two different worlds. It's like, what happens to her? Where does she belong? It's very fascinating. And the story of belonging is a very sort of, I think, universally childlike concern, because even a child that has a place within a world still it has to try to figure out how they fit into it. It's sort of the one rite of passage that every child goes through. It's also fascinating too, from like the way that it affects the character. I've heard this a lot from various things. I mean, there was one. Sorry, there was one really good. I didn't mean to hit the mic. There was one really interesting interview with Adele where she had polyps in her throat, which is like, I don't know. It's a bit like nodules that just stick there, and it sort of. It's almost like a cyst thing, but it's also really bad for you because it causes irritation and stuff. And she was like, she doesn't want to get it removed because she's worried it will affect her singing sound. And so this character is now struggling with this idea of now, what can she do? Because in many ways, this is sort of now the interesting thing about a kid movie is that it can appeal to adults too, right? And the appeal here to the adults is, this is the life that every adult thinks about. If all you've ever done is this thing and then this thing goes away, how do you then live with yourself? And even if everyone tells you it's okay, right? It's still a loss. You're grieving over this loss. You're grieving over this loss of who you used to be. This is fascinating. I imagine this is what people who lose their jobs feel like. I imagine this is people who are forced out of an industry because the industry is dying feels like. Imagine this is just people who sort of lose their way in life feels like. It's a very relatable story on both ends. It's a very well-made kids movie. It's not a shitpost movie. It's not sort of like a slop movie, almost like a SpongeBob movie, where it's just pure, slop brain rot comedy after slop brain rot comedy. There's thought put into the storyline that sort of touches on these various different concerns and these feelings that these characters have. And the songs are very good. I thought the songs would be mid at best, because usually the songs that are in these movies, they're just there to sort of fill the soundscape with noise. But these songs have meaning in them that goes beyond just noise and really starts to tackle hard, complex topics like, what does it mean to be somebody? What does it mean to be somebody, considering that people are not one-dimensional? What happens when you have all these conflicting concerns even? And how do you balance life with everything? This is a very South Korean thing. Like, it's very hard to explain the fascination with this type of like traditional medicine stuff, and like this idea of like these like Jello packs. There's something about the fascination of these weird nutritious Jello packs that I have not seen anywhere in like North America. It's crazy. As somebody who has grown up with this stuff, it's hard to explain how much of this like stuff is there that people really believe in and really enjoy. It's also fascinating how this movie handles the voice acting and the casting decisions. Like, it's actually interesting to sort of see that this character is sort of like a play on that sort of stereotypical character that you saw in other Switch shows, right? I think the best example is probably the Jackie Chan cartoon. His old ass like grandpa guy, right? Like heavy Asian accents of some kind, and the sort of this almost sage like wisdom to them, but remixed in a way that almost feels like it's just a real person now. Like, it's not playing into the stereotype so heavily. It's now just a representation of a real person. It's a very subtle usage of it that you don't even notice until you really hone in on it. But I think that's what makes it so well done, is because it does feel like a character who is just normal that happens to also have those attributes. Versus the other way around, where it's like it would have felt like it starts with the stereotype and then they build something around it, right? Does that make sense? Yeah, tonics and these yellow packs, man. And also, okay, one thing I will say, in Asia, like, the packaging for that stuff is so good. The packaging that we have, like, here, it sucks. But that cardboard packaging, that's sick. Oh, that's the guy. That's the guy who ignored that she was pregnant in the video. What's crazy is I'm the only source of that video left. On YouTube, I'm the only source. I have the raw copy. Of it. I'm the only person with the source of that video left. I also don't understand why you would do a shirt that tight, because if the buttons pop, it's over. And then now you gotta replace the shirt buttons, and it costs a lot of money. Well, it's not that they're gross. People just like hot people, man. It's also very fascinating to see this too, because like, I think K-pop has started to show that there's a level of, like, speaking as an Asian person, it's sort of fascinating to me that like a lot of the racism that I faced here within North America, within Canada, has been that, oh, I'm Asian, therefore I'm like a wimpy dude, or like I don't look very attractive because it's like, oh, it's like I'm like a very sort of like soft sort of Asian person. But then in reality, it's like, no, dude, like there's just as much complexity with the level of who you are as a person, as an Asian person, as you would be anyone else. It's just for some reason outside of Asia, Asian people aren't really seen as very attractive people. But this shows like oh yeah, there's like all various types of attractive people, and K-pop in general has sort of like elevated this image and even shown that attractiveness is not just the typical sort of, you know, male standard of like you gotta be like super six pack ripped. You can also just be like a normal dude, and or even be somebody who is sort of like seen as quote unquote more effeminate, and like still be attractive. Like it's fascinating how much normalization there has been from the rise of this stuff that has been good as a whole. And it's interesting to see it within the movie as well, because like those characters are very objectively good looking, and they try their best to paint it, but it's like it's not like they're so crazy K-pop looking. Like it's interesting to see the character designs. They look like interesting character designs, and they don't look like the over-the-top K-pop character designs. I don't know how to explain it, but the character designs in this movie so far have been fantastic on both sides. It's really good. Though I will say, okay, nobody just dyes their hair pink. It's very difficult to keep. Oh, they actually went with the Korean. Oh my god, that's a song. I've heard this song so much. Honestly, it's a really catchy song. I like how she's not allowed to like vibe to it. Ah, God, I hate this. I hate the random rap segments within these songs. I hate it so much. And what's crazy is that the rap segments, they feel so disconnected from the rest of the song because it goes into an entirely different mood shift. Not that that's a bad thing. Like, the formula works, but I hate it so much because I wish it was more integrated into the song instead of killing the entire mood. Because it goes into this grimy sound, but then the whole song is about My Little Soda Pop. Like, my little soda pop, fuck your mom. It's like, what the hell happened? Okay, I take it back about it not being like very typical K-pop sort of looks. They definitely nailed the look of that K-pop person who is like their hair is way too long and there's no way that they see through their hair when it's at the front. It's also interesting that they're going with the storyline because this idea of artists competing while also being peers is a fascinating problem that the world has in every industry, but especially within art. Like, it's like the slice of the pie is only so much. So it's like if, say, Blackpink is really high up, there's not enough space for somebody like New Jeans because everybody's into Blackpink and not New Jeans. You know what I mean? Like, you have to differentiate yourself in order to give yourself your own moat. But if you're too similar, then all of a sudden you guys are cannibalizing each other. Dun dun dun. Romance. I like how they also captured the fact that K-pop artists have some very interesting names. And now I finally see who Baby Saja is. That's the name. Okay, their artist name is actually Baby Saja, and there's romance. I don't get the nicknames. I actually don't get it. Peers. In the balls. In the balls. That's a great line. That's a really good line. Oh god, the latex. Oh god, the latex squeaking. Oh god, I hate it so much. Oh. Man, the animation style is so good. Even the use of like the jump cuts within the animation almost are really interesting. Oh man, and they even include the cultural jokes where it's like you have to bow lower to be the more you have to be seen as the more respectful person. It's like a very interesting movie because they include so many details that would be like honestly kind of a culture shock to most people because like why would you bow so low? That I think even maybe like a decade or two ago would have been seen as strange and almost exotic, right? But nowadays, I think there's much more openness and like much more willingness to sort of try and understand these things. It's very cool. It's a very fascinating structure too. They go with the music videos at times, and then they go with action scenes. Like they actually show all the various aspects that they're building on. They don't leave any part of the characterization in the dark. Every part of the characters is shown in some way in this movie so far, which would make sense. I mean, obviously, but a lot of the time, like a lot of plot points will just sort of be glossed over and won't ever be touched ever again. That's an interesting choice from that character. I wonder if they're setting it up as like, oh, they're gonna use this to try to convince her that they're actually good. Almost like, oh, we have an opportunity as like an in here. Oh, you're a part demon. Oh, buddy, time to take advantage of that weakness of yours. Let me show some kindness, right? To fool you into believing that. The pals as they walk away, and then the idea of like a bathhouse and sort of the awkwardness of the bathhouse. I'm also surprised that they showed that level of damage. And what is this character story now? Back to hell you go, I guess. Okay. that the demons are also in a K-pop. I have thought about that, like because like if heaven and hell are where people go after you die, let's say, right? Isn't it true that every single trend that we have here would just be there? Like you could play Counter Strike in heaven, and then in hell you have to play some shitty game like Chrome Spec Force or something. This means she has shame. Oh, this is Genu. Okay, I thought the pregnancy video was just a fake, but the name is actually Genu. The weak spots. I mean, Soda Pop was kind of a catchy song, though. It's kind of hard to. Oh, and they have the dance trends. There's something funny about how many people do dance trends based on some dance move. My wife and I were watching this show, Living Alone. It's a very, I think it's a very popular Korean show. I've heard even my like Korean friends who live in Korea talk about it because it shows up on TV and stuff there. But all the episodes are on YouTube with subtitles. And one of the things that was talked about is that the choreography, in many ways, is the visual art of the music. And even that is, there's a lot of effort trying to be like, there's a lot of effort put into that to try and create something that's catchy there as well. Like, not only is it catchy from like a musical sense, it's catchy from a dancing sense too. And it's actually interesting to sort of see dance become that. Like, battle dancing is a very complex art that's also very difficult to do. Not to say that dancing for K-pop stuff is any easier, but it's fascinating how many of the moves are sort of designed in a way that it feels almost like its own level of catchiness. It's like watching a breakdance battle and the level of improvisation that they do, say at like the Red Bull competition, I forget the name of, right? Compared to seeing it in like, I don't know, like a YouTube video that goes popular, it's like a very different vibe. But this is like the YouTube popular version times 100 within K-pop, which is interesting. She got scammed. Wait, okay, the animation's really good. Even the poses and the emotions that they have are extremely interesting. Very, very funny. The way that they look at this thing and they go, "What the hell is that?" Hmm. Interesting characterization. Very Cheshire Cat-like. And of course, they have the like childlike gags of like, oh, you tip over the flower pot and you have to try to balance it with cat paws, which doesn't really work. Hmm. I'm hoping it doesn't go for something that stereotypical where it's like, oh, they're gonna use them. Like, I'm curious how to see how this movie ends, right? Because like, what is the relation to the bad guys and the good guys? Because usually in these movies, like the bad guys do lose. The bad guys do lose, and then the good guys prevail. But it's sort of so boring to see that I don't want to see it. It's so obvious. Aw, you killed the dummy. Because he's like her, and he's gonna use her. It's kind of messed up. Demons don't feel. Hmm. Hmm. That was a lot of exposition and a pace that I would not expect for a kids movie. It's a lot of it's very complex to think about too, because so much of it is very heavy. And if you're a kid watching something like this, it's almost like for many children, this is probably the first time that they've had to think about these ideas, right? I can imagine something like that was almost both entrancing and also disorienting. Okay, now I see why the video was about this character and baby Saja having sex and having a child. Like, now I understand why she got pregnant. It's because the character herself is in love with it. Like, now I see every single storyline that was being built on that channel was a result of the characterizations within the movie. Like they were actually very lore accurate as to the end game of what the relationships would be like, right? It's my wife. I like how the idea of their strength is based on how many people rep their stuff. Like the more people that rep them as a group, the less likely it is for the world to explode. Which is funny because you would imagine that this is a problem across all time. Like you could argue that Britney Spears was the only thing keeping the West from falling. Sorry, I have to make that joke. I'm also I'm excited that they're keeping this storyline of the conflict between who somebody is on the inside and what is going on the outside that is sort of forcing them to have to hide, and sort of the reactions to who they are and the ways that these actions are sort of against their existence. It's incredibly interesting because you can apply that to many other types of concepts, right? You can apply that to a lot of different types of things that people go through in life. Like the obvious parallel is like, say you have to be gay and you're in the closet, right? Like it's you don't get to be yourself. Rujinu. Okay, this is how they got pregnant, right? The baby Saja, that's how she got pregnant. This idea of like, the world pushing you to hide within the shadows, but having to do things that almost work against your interest. It's an interesting way to introduce a younger audience to that idea in a form that's very palatable and simple to understand. I like that scene too. Hmm. That's an interesting scene. It's interesting how like Rumi is trying to like, give him something too. This idea of like, oh, what is your like? Don't look to your past. Look towards the present that's here today. Don't look towards these hypotheticals. Think about the impact on the world that you have now. Also, I don't know how people can sing while sitting down like that. The one thing about K-pop that's interesting to me, or any performing artist, is that the way that they're able to perform while also doing all of these movements is very impressive. It's very hard to keep a consistent voice as you're moving about. It's very difficult. You almost like you have to engage your diaphragm to the point where it feels stressful and painful. Oh god, the cat is so unsettling. Why are you changing my lyrics? I can't wait until these demons suffer for eternity, even though they enjoy K-pop just like me, and thus have some level of emotions that's very similar to me, and thus really it's sort of a slippery slope of like, wouldn't it also be me too? Like it's kind of scary. I also enjoyed this look into and this sort of semi-plot point of, oh, the artists within a group also have to communicate with each other and try to deal with each other because they're a group. Like I do everything by myself. Even if like my wife is privy to seeing what I do, a lot of the efforts that go into it are solely driven by my own. So it's like I don't ever have to like convince someone. I just sort of, insofar as like it's not going to impede any other aspect of my life, I can just do this and then sort of think about how this stuff is going to work. And I can change things at will. I can do whatever idea that I want. There's no one to answer to, but it's very common. Like I've heard various stories of like K-pop groups that dissolve because of various internal issues. Like my wife showed me one K-pop boy band that was went for like 7 members down to 2 because they had so many different disagreements and stuff. And even something like Big Bang, right? The one guy who is doing some very 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 painful, very awful crimes. Like they're so different from the rest of their members, presumably that it's sort of like, wow, like what they do, they have to cut them off, and then the group's dead. It's a very interesting line. That's a very powerful line too. It's true. So the emotions that you feel and the way that you react to the world and the way that you feel things, it's all based on you. It's your hope to hold, not someone else's. No one can really dampen it if you have that hope in the side of you. They also capture the awkward walk off. This is a very good movie. They actually do like for a kids movie. This is a top tier kids movie. Of the kids movies that I would have, the kids in my life watch, I would rather them watch this than Shrek, honestly. Although Shrek has sort of similar messages, this is a lot more interesting and complex. It's too hateful. God, the way that they morph the character elements too. I like how they can do the sharp teeth when they're angry too, like sharks. It's very interesting. God, dude. Okay, honestly, something about North American snacks suck, man. Like chips are good, but like sometimes you just want like fried fish in the bag, dude. Even the manager is falling for it. I like how the messaging too was join the pride. Like a lion's pride, you can be the lion. You can be the king of the jungle. I'm noticing from the music too, they're using a lot of almost K-pop staple sounds. It's actually pretty interesting to see. The singing there was really good too. I know they would write the songs based on what they want to have the movie sort of say, but I'm curious if the singers are privy to that too, and if they sing to that too, because there's like different parts of the way that they sing that makes it feel like the emotions of the lyrics themselves are coming through, and based on what the scene is trying to convey. It's very masterful. I also like how she's very casually brushing off the fact that people are dying because she's not willing to take the next step. Like, sure, demons might be misunderstood on some level because she's a demon, but also like people are dying, man. Like people are they're literally disappearing. That's the best song in the movie so far. The lyrics are incredibly impactful, and it even goes beyond the movie itself. And it's actually a really solid duet song, because usually duet songs, they just sort of sing their own parts. But this is a very, very solid duet song, because especially at the harmonization parts, right? First, it was Rumi harmonizing for Jinu. Sorry, first it was Jinu harmonizing for Rumi. But then Rumi is then harmonizes for Jinu afterwards, sort of showing this level of support and care for each other. It's a very good song. It's a very good usage within the movie itself, and then it's just as a song by itself. Just the quality of it and the singing behind it. The singers did a great job. Whoever is the singer for Rumi does an amazing job hitting that range and those emotions, hitting those emotions. But do. He left them to die. You know, that's interesting. Because that's a very complex story point, this idea of the choices that you make in times of such great need. It's sort of like there's an audience that this touches on as well that I think suffers that every day, right? The types of decisions that people have to make in their lives when they have nothing. And the types of and the lanes that they have to go to almost ensure that they're able to survive too. The sacrifices that they have to make. Trying to get the audience that would enjoy this movie to think about that. That's a very fascinating take for something that's approaching like a PG-13 or like a kids movie. Getting kids to think about, oh, what does it mean to do something awful like that, but still be allowed to redeem yourself, still be allowed to be absolved of your sins, still be allowed to be able to live on guilt-free in a way. What does it mean for somebody to atone for something? Those are very complex topics for like even let alone adults, right? Let alone this idea of like the discussion that we have about prisons and stuff. But doing that within this movie for children to then think about, using this as a framing point, it's very fascinating. Though again, because it's a kids movie, it's sort of tainted because the kids are really into like, oh wow, he's like really good looking and he sounds cool and they have powers. You know what I mean? Like, it's the message is a little tainting, but I think it's a message that sort of is meant to fester in their mind and grow over time. That's the thing about a lot of kids media, is that a lot of it is really designed to like plant the seed in their mind and then help them think about it later on, something to refer back to. It starts the process. And I like this scene of like this idea of reconnecting with her friends and starting to trust them too. In a way, her ability, it's fascinating to sort of see this plot point sort of evolving this way, because it even shows the strength of healing as a whole and how that affects all parts of your life. Like, because she's healing with Jinu, she can now heal with her friends and start to trust them more too. And yet, it's interesting that sort of the industry itself is pitting them against each other. Like, it's still, that's the main plot point. Pop. I like how the Saja Boys only have one song, but Huntrix has like way better songs, and the Jurimu or like the Gina Rumi combo is way better than either of them. But that's sort of the point, right? It's like there's a poppy version of the songs that they both do as a group, but it's only when they connect with each other that something really amazing comes out. But it's also fascinating to see that there's sort of like a hesitation from her. It's like, wait, now I'm supporting my friends, but at the same time, what does that hurt? Now it's a choice that she has to make. Hmm. And now to take over the concert. It's cliche, but the execution was really good. The execution of this idea of her true self being revealed and sort of the reactions that people have, and then her sort of like fall from grace, especially the use of the song Golden in the takedown for the fall from grace, and then her meeting her friends at her lowest point. It's very good. And then her sort of seeing them be afraid of her and pushing her away. Her friends' reactions are very stupid here too. It's sort of like you can definitely tell that the main characters are very well written and go through this growth, but you can tell that the secondary characters they're not like they're definitely written to be extremely stupid and they're not good at the growth too. They're definitely the least interesting parts of the show. It's their interaction with the main character that is really good. It reminds me of this is a very weird analogy, but it reminds me of that speech by that one German author, Hermann Mann or something. And his speech was about Hitler, and he was basically saying, Hitler is my brother. It wasn't actually his blood brother, but it was this idea that we cannot demonize and call someone a monster because it makes them so separate from us. In a way, this is touching on that very concept that any of us are capable of very inhuman things, and yet that doesn't necessarily negate the fact that we're human at the core of it. Good of like capable of both extreme good and extreme evil. It's very fascinating. And now this is sort of the realization point from both of them. I'm hoping the side characters to realize that element of her still being human is there, and that anybody could become a demon, right? And I like how it sort of shows this idea of like those sweet temptations, right? It's that it's that it's not showing it as a weakness. It's showing it as like a predator preying on your insecurities. Not that it's your fault for having those insecurities, but more so that it's those things that people seek to exploit. And I really enjoy that even the mother character, this expansion of their interaction and this expansion of sort of the way that she viewed her and coddled her and helped her in spite of her condition, right? Is being brought up and then built on. Hmm. It's a very fascinating take on this idea of like the idolation, the that idology complex, the golden child thing, right? The idea of like, oh, like now you have a golden child, sure, but at the same time, you know, you don't see them for who they are. You see them for what they bring you. You see them for what they're capable of doing for you. It's very dehumanizing as a child, and I'm sure many children would feel this too, right? It's a very fascinating concept. This movie executes very well on all of these little ideas, and it does a very good job of actually showing what happens, but in a very fantasy way that I think a lot of kids would actually connect with. The idea of like a child being sort of almost like the plaything of a parent, and then this golden child complex where they don't accept them for who they are, but they only see what they want to see instead of actually like facing it head on. That's a fascinating concept. It's a very stereotypically child story, but done and told in a very unique way. I think that works out very well. I almost can't believe that character is the one rapping. I'm sorry, just seeing the stupid pregnancy shitpost videos, and that's the character that starts rapping. There's something funny about it. One thing that's interesting about this movie is that this is gonna break so many people's expectations. Because when they go to see a real K-pop concert, it's not nearly as cool because you can't do that stuff. Like it's actually very hard to. Like you can't teleport. There's gonna be a whole generation raised up thinking that real life concerts suck compared to what the virtual stuff is. If anything, I'm surprised that there hasn't been like a major concert done by somebody in the VTuber space that has that level of effects and choreography and sort of style, right? A lot of the concerts can feel almost very amateurish when it's like there's so much stuff that you could do within the space because it's fully virtual. There's so many different things that you can do that wouldn't be possible IRL. Sorry, the warble effect on the enemy demon voice is just so funny. It just sounds like a comedy shitpost video. Why did they do the warble? It's like the shitpost. It's like the TF2 era of shitpost memes with the voice warble. Oh, he's gonna kill himself for her. Jinu's gonna kill himself for her. Wow. Oh yeah, I guess she is a demon, so she could just suck him off. She can technically suck his soul out. The run animation was very, very stiff. There's something funny about the idea of like Asian fantasy. People are just totally okay seeing their heroes floating in the sky with these superpowers. It's like for some reason within the media, there's just sort of an acceptance of these crazy powers. I would be freaking out if Blackface started floating in the air and started floating downwards. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Why is there demons everywhere? But that was good. I have a lot of thoughts about that segment. I have a lot of thoughts about the movie as a whole, but I have a lot of thoughts about that segment too. I'm actually very pleasantly surprised at how good this movie is as a whole, not just as a kids movie, but I think even as a movie for people to get into the idea of what these concepts are. Also, man, this is a really good effect too, right here when they're in the sauna. Time, like, their animation speed has slowed down because they're really relaxed. It's really good. I wonder, are they actually dead forever? Presumably no, because of this. Okay, well now it's just credits. Is there a way to skip the credits? Okay, we can go a little like faster throughout the credits. I don't really care about the credits too much. We just, because it's just credits. Credits on these productions are massive. Like the credits on these productions is like multiple tens of thousands of like combined people hours, and then there's like 1,000 people. Like that was a good movie. That final scene was interesting because even the storyline of that, it's very similar to the idea behind a lot of the modern day initiatives of sort of like what people are trying to get people to talk about and think about. And actually, I can move from this world now, and it's probably better to talk about elsewhere because this world has no music. How do I go into the menu again? Go here. We gotta go here. I actually have another third world that we can go into as I talk about this movie. We can go into this one. Yeah, sure. Okay. I guess you fucked me and you go into the keyboard. Alright, that's crazy. Why did you go into keyboard mode? What? That movie was really good. I have no clue what the camera is going to look at. I need to actually double check. And we may have to kill the world volume in just a bit. But this at least means I have less editing work to do. So we're out of the movie theater. I don't have to edit as much now within the VOD. I don't have to do as much. I really emphasize the silence, so it was easier for me to cut. I realized that if I talk and I take too long to make my point, it gets very difficult to stop it from being copyright struck. Because fair use on YouTube is a very slippery slope. Oh god, it's too loud! Okay, is it good? I don't know if it's good. Can I look at the monitor? Okay, give me this. Alright, there we go. And let me move the camera around. That was a wonderful movie. It was actually extremely good. The thing that surprised me about the movie, and yes, I'm Michael Scott at the moment. I didn't have another character. The thing that surprised me about the movie at the end there was that use of the song and the message of the movie in order to talk about a topic that is actually a very difficult topic to talk about, that people sort of only really start to get into perhaps later in their life, especially because most people don't really have the training to go through it, right? Like, it's like this idea of facing the world and facing all parts of you. There's sort of this boogeyman in the world where a lot of this positive messaging was like, don't focus on the bad, don't worry about that, it's not that serious, oh, it's okay, you tried your best. Not to say that that's not necessarily true, you did try your best, but there's sort of this idea that you can't ever tackle the bad stuff. It's the stigma behind the bad parts of you. It's the stigma behind looking at these parts of you that are bad and then saying that these are a problem and trying to fix it, right? Because it's sort of seen as it's sort of seen as a negative aspect to bring those up, and so people don't ever talk about their problems. And I really enjoyed that final song's lyrics of they're broken into pieces, but they see something from it, something new, and they finally, and this is their voice without the light, because this is their voice as it is with all of their experiences. It's not just who they are in the positive aspects, it's who they are as a person. And it plays into the themes of the movie very well, because the entire movie is about acceptance. It's about this understanding that, you know, even if people do terrible things, at the end of the day, they're still human. We still need to treat them with some level of humanity, because we are just as capable of these things as someone else. And I also really enjoyed that sort of twist at the end with the main character, because, you know, it's a very simple twist. It's a very cliche twist that she comes back and she becomes a good person, right? But that twist where she goes, even though I was born this way, I'm not going to choose to live this way. Like, I'm going to choose to be better than my circumstances. That takes a lot of strength and effort, but that also, in a way, is so important to think about, because when you do it, you inspire hope within others. That's why Genu dies at the end, because he's like, oh, I feel like I have the hope within me to be able to do this, because you've given me hope by showing me that you can do it because you did do it. And thus, like, her doing it frees him. It's a very beautiful message. It's sort of why people always talk about this idea of you have to make your problems known. You have to talk about them. You have to make sure that the world hears you, because the world doesn't want to hear you. The truth is, the world doesn't want to hear about the bad stuff because it's unsettling and it's uncomfortable, but it doesn't change the fact that it exists. And if we ignore it, things will never get better. You have to talk about the bad stuff for there to be good, because if you just keep on ignoring it, you will never be able to get better within life. And not only on a personal level, even on like a societal level, this stuff matters. So it's a very fascinating sort of take on that idea. And for a kids movie, the fact that it plants it in your head as a child is fascinating, because this is such a complex topic that, like, it might take you a lifetime of therapy to go through, right? Hell, there's an entire art form based on this that that tries to get you to think about it, that people practice their entire lives, and they still never really get to understand it, right? I forget what the art form is called, but it's a form of a pottery and sort of like ceramics, clay, well, I guess pottery is the term, where they break it and then they reform it. They put the pieces back together, and in doing so, those breakages and each and every single line, each and every single crack, each and every single way that it sort of falls apart is so unique to it that it forms its own pattern. And you actually see this come through in the movie. The movie touches on that same thing. The idea of their patterns on their skin. They're hiding their scars on their skin. And the way that this whole movie is based around this idea of lying, I really enjoyed the way that it tackled the idea of lying, because a lot of kids' movies will tackle the basic level of lying, which is lying is bad because it's dishonest. But they never really go deeper than what whereas this movie actually does, where it goes into the idea of like, what does it mean to lie? And what is dishonesty? What is actually the effect of dishonesty? But also, what does it mean to be dishonest? What are you really being dishonest about, right? What is the truth of the matter? And sort of honing in on that and showing how it sets you free by being able to face all the realities of life. That's a very powerful message. Having the strength and the courage and the bravery to be able to face the realities of life, that's a very powerful message, because that's exactly what, in many ways, I think the world needs, right? It's a very fascinating message, especially for these times, but just in general, because I think that's what people need, a lot of people, and especially kids. Like, if you think of this as a kid's movie, most kids never think about their life. Most kids only think about their life in terms of what their family tells them to think about. Like, you might have your father and your mother telling you, you might not even have a father, you might not even have like a mother, you might have no one, but you have all these different figures in your life telling you what to think, what to feel, what to do, but they never teach you how to think about yourself. They never teach you how to think about your feelings. They never really teach you how to think and navigate the world and like understand yourself and your place in it. So it's like, as a kid's movie, this is a great way to sort of implant that in their minds, right? It's sort of the same way that like Shrek starts to talk about this idea of the other, right? This idea of like, ogres are like onions, and then the dog goes, they stink, you know what I mean? But it's a comedic take on the idea of like, there's complexity there. There's complexity within you. There's layers to you. You can really think about yourself and start to build a fuller picture of yourself, and then. But then this movie takes it a step further into this idea of acceptance and humanity, and what does it mean to find humanity even after the mistakes that you've made, and even if it's not a mistake, right? Like Genu himself says what he did was awful. Genu himself says what he did was a terrible, inhumane, terrible thing. Like, it's not even a mistake. It's something that he chose to do because it was an evil thing that he wanted. He was selfish for it. But even he found redemption at the end. Why? Because that's the human experience. The human experience is not just a binary yes, no, good, evil. It's this sliding scale that's very, very uncomfortable to deal with, because, you know, again, it sort of brings to light this idea that anybody could be like that, but it's true, right? Again, like Herman Mann and his essay on Hitler, calling him his brother. It's to highlight the fact that we're capable of so much good and so much evil. But it's the way that we go about it. It's the way that we tackle these challenges. And it's the way that we face these problems heads on that determines whether or not ultimately what we do will be good or evil, right? Ultimately, it's our actions that define that. And our willingness to understand that and tackle that with a level of bravery and a hope and a courage, that's what matters. And I really liked how the movie tackled that idea of like giving hope. Especially with the song choices. The song choices were really good. The song lyrics were extremely good. That duet with Rumi and Genu was extremely good, because it was the way that they were able to sing together, to harmonize, the way that they both supported each other, and the way that they gave each other hope. You saw the cracks in the messaging start to fade. This message of hate from Genu started to fade, and this message of like just blind faith and trust, and this message of like ignore the bad started to fade from Rumi. And then now you have the reality. They're both facing the reality, and while the reality isn't pretty, at least they have the hope that they can get through it all. And it's such a beautiful message because now you sort of leave these children with this message of you can if you can instill hope within others, if you can keep that hope alive within each other, and that's what we're capable of as people, right? Even among each other, we're capable of doing that. Among our own social group, if we're capable of doing that, and we do that, what we'll find is that we'll be better off for it, because without hope there is nothing. Without hope we sort of don't even care about our actions, but with hope comes courage, comes bravery to face the challenges of the world and do better. That was a great movie. As a kid's movie, I did not expect that level of quality. I was actually very thoroughly impressed. I was very surprised by the fidelity of everything. Again, the animation quality was great. The songs were really good. It was interesting to think that the Saja Boys, is that their name? The Saja Boys song, the Soda Pop song, was actually the weakest song. I was genuinely surprised by how little of the boy band songs there were, but it makes sense because they're a supporting cast to the main cast. They themselves are the side characters to the side characters, who is the side character to the main character, right? Like the side characters are Rumi's two people. I forget their names now because they're not really important. But even the Saja boys, they're the side people to Rumi, and it shows because Genu is the deuterogonist or something. I forget the actual term to Rumi. But still, even then, their songs are really good. Even that final song of preaching to the choir, and how grimy and gritty and almost scary it sounded. They did a great job of using that very stereotypical sort of K-pop sound, right? That it's a very stereotypical hardcore K-pop sound that sounds very catchy and very sort of it goes hard in the paint. But using it with those lyrics gives it a much more sinister feeling, which I think would actually sell the message even better as to show how dangerous that type of ideology is, right? That sort of mindset of we're going to tell you what you want to hear, and all you need to do is just follow us and we'll figure it out for you, and you don't need to deal with any of it, and we'll make you feel better even if it costs you your life. Beautiful take on that song. Every single song in this show except for the Soda Pop song was really good. And I'm not even saying that the Soda Pop song was bad from a song perspective. It was a very catchy song. But in terms of the meanings of the songs, every single song was stellar. The Golden song was fantastic. This idea of rising above things, and even the idea of celebrating yourself is interesting. And then the contrast between that and Takedown, this idea of taking somebody down instead of breaking you down. I liked that because in the end, that final song was the culmination of both of those experiences. And you actually heard it in the composition of that final song. That final song had bits and pieces of both of those earlier songs. Probably not, note-wise or melodically or something, but definitely conceptually. It felt like a mixture of both of those mindsets, where it's both the good and the bad. Because you can't have the full picture if you only focus on the good. Sure, you can keep rising up as much as you want, but when you fall, then what? You just keep on falling? No, that's why Takedown was so powerful, because if you fall so high, because if you climb so high and you never think about, and you don't have the skill set to help you when you fall, it can feel even more crushing. That was the beauty of it. And then that final song was the acceptance that though you may fall, you will always be able to rise again. And no matter how bad it gets, as long as you keep on trying and as long as you hold on to hope, there's always something better. That was a very beautiful message. Obviously, reality sort of makes this very difficult, right? So some people have very difficult realities that make it even harder. Some people don't even get a real starting chance. But it's sort of the reality too that, that could have been the case for us maybe hundreds of thousands of years ago as well, right? All of human history is about persevering in the face of adversity. And as an aggregate, as a whole, we're able to move forward. We always sort of plant the trees for the next generation. And that was a beautiful movie. That was good. Very fun, very catchy. The story was solid too, honestly. It's just a great story about this idea of accepting who you are, the good and the bad, and thinking about what it means to be good, thinking about what it means to be bad. So they did a great job of distilling a very complex philosophical topic that even today, again, we still have debates about this societally. We don't even know what to do with prisons. And this movie, in a way, deals with that concept. Because it's the same way that we look at prisons is the same way that we look at... is the same way that Rumi looked at Genu. That in spite of what he did, she still wanted to give him hope that he could be better. It's sort of fascinating to sort of look at that mindset and go, wow, this is this is a very interesting and very powerful message that is said in a way that is easily digestible. And again, the thing about kids movies that I really enjoy, it plants the seed for the child, right? It plants the seed in their mind for the future. Because in the future, when the child gets into a situation that's very similar, they're going to be thinking about this. Because the kids go through this every day. This idea of acceptance for who they are, this idea of like what is good, what is bad. They're struggling to understand this because it's sort of fascinating. But like kids up until this point are only told these things and they believe it because their parents have like told them. But once they start to build their critical thinking skills, I think this movie's gonna have a positive impact. It's gonna leave this impression in the mind where they go, wait, but then is it really true that that like people are just evil? Like, what does it mean to be evil? And what's the difference between me and them? And then they start to get deeper into this stuff, and then they realize the complexities of humanity. And it's also gonna leave a lasting impression of K-pop. I think K-pop is gonna be, I think K-pop it's already very popular. K-pop, but I've noticed that K-pop within the younger generations is almost popping off even more because of various events. Like let's say Jason the Weenie. I only know of him because of my friend, right? But I did see that one clip where he got really popular and he had a very successful subathon or something on Twitch, and he was playing ETA by New Jeans, which, by the way, banger song, good choice, Jason the Weenie. I don't know how to say your name. Very good choice of song. Okay. And that clip goes viral, and then all of a sudden the younger generation gets exposed to it. I think this movie is sort of also that as well. And I think that sort of the acceptance of what is K-pop is going to grow even higher and higher and higher. Because again, don't forget, it was just recently that, like, I'm pretty sure, I remember like a K-pop group that won some famous award within the West. And I remember seeing, you know, a bunch of articles coming out about these like comments that was saying like, oh, what is this like Asian music? Like, it's so stupid and it sounds so weird, and like I don't understand a thing with their funny voices, you know? It's sort of this breaking down of the barriers that are there, right? And as an Asian person myself, it's sort of interesting to see, because that barrier within media, it's fascinating how much of a barrier there is within the Western market in particular, when it's like everywhere else it kind of feels like it penetrates very easily, because it's almost more of an acceptance of what it is. Like, it's hard to explain, but it's like, it's weird that people deride Parasite for having subtitles for a Korean movie, and they would rather have it be dubbed, even though the actors themselves are on screen acting and speaking, just because they don't want to read it. Obviously, it's a very uncomfortable sort of like medium if it's your first time through, and if you're buying a ticket to a movie that's your first time, I can sort of see the frustration of having to learn that skill set now versus in a setting where you can do it over and over and over, right? Like, if you watch pirated anime, you can practice how to read subtitles because it's pirated. You can just go back in the video. You can't really do that at a movie theater unless you pay another $50, right? But sort of beyond that discussion of like, you know, why is the media not made to fit a certain place? It's because that media carries with it so much of the history and the values of where it comes from. Even this movie has so many different things about it that are so Korean, that if you tried to translate it and you tried to almost remake it in an English way, it would lose all meaning, right? So many little gags that only work within this context, right? In this culture where it's like you have to bow even lower to show even more respect. This idea of like people believing in these like fancy tonics and the way that it's a scam because it's just a grape juice. It's like, okay, great, cool, right? That only works within the context of that culture. It's the same reason why I hate remakes of like, you know, different shows by Hollywood that are coming from other places. Like, there's an Old Boy remake that's starring some random people, and it's like the original Old Boy is 10 times better. And it's crazy how the remake misses the points, but it has to. By design, it has to, because almost by design, you can't make a piece of art without... Like, you can't make a piece of art and then ignore the context behind the art and then expect it to translate well. And that's actually interesting to sort of talk about too, is that movie had elements of that. This idea of like, you can't ignore the context and the history of a person behind something. You have to actually respect that and sort of keep that in mind, because that's ultimately how this thing has come about. The best way that I can give this, the best way that I can talk about this is the singing of the songs. Because the singing of the songs, especially the Rumi Jinu duet, especially that final song, the emotion that comes from the singer, it's crazy to think about because it's a full song, right? But we never really think about what goes into the songwriting process. This movie is sort of fascinating in that it has a very childish view in how the songwriting process works, but that is sort of how it works. Is that when you think about art and the way that it's being made, what does it mean to make something? What does it mean to have a piece of yourself within these things? What does it mean to have emotion behind these things? How can these singers say these things even though it's a song that is written for a movie? It's because in many ways, right, the person behind that action, the person who's singing the song, has a history behind them and the context that they themselves are putting into the song too. And then you see them going through the songwriting process, their feelings. It's actually a very fascinating look at sort of the process because you see the conflicts that arise. You see the struggles that they go through. They try to nail down what this thing that they're trying to make and what they want it to sound like and what the message that they want it to like have. And you see all the variations of things that they've made culminating in that final piece at the very end that has all of their experience and all of their life as they've lived it up until then in that song. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Not only is it beautiful from like a appreciate the artist type of view, it's beautiful from this is something that I think consumers should keep in mind type of view, where now like I hope in a way this plants a seed within a child's mind of like, what is the emotions, what is the life behind everything that we see in our day-to-day lives, the actions, the attitudes, the mindsets, the opinions, the facts, you know what I mean, like even the lies, like what is actually the impetus behind these things that's driven these things to be what they are today. The movie does a lot of good on that front. Like the movie is a very complex movie if you break it down, but it's communicated so well and so simply that it feels like a masterpiece. And I've heard it said before, and I think it is a very poignant point of like, if you're an expert, if you believe yourself to be an expert but you can't even explain it to a child, or you really somebody who understands what it is that you're talking about, this idea of simplification down to the core of what it is, it's obviously you lose a lot of nuance and complexities, but there's a way to communicate this stuff while keeping that. And I think this movie is a great example of that it seems like they took a lot of time and care to actually try and communicate these ideas in a way that children would still understand the nuance and the complexities, but not get bogged down so deep in the details that they need an entire like PhD course in history and stuff, right? Like it's actually approachable, accessible. It's very good. And that's a good mindset to have, and I'm very glad that this movie even touched on that. You know what? Very happy about this. This has been a very successful segment. I went into this movie sort of half believing that it would be bad because it's like, oh, it's a kids movie. How good could it be? Because you know, the modern state of kids movies is that a lot of them aren't very good at imparting some idea. Even this idea of like non-kids movies, right? Like even let's say PG-13 movies. Though I will say, my hot take, Marvel movies are kids movies. Those movies don't really have much of anything. A lot of the time, it's just raw entertainment. And raw entertainment's fun and all. It's fun to always laugh and it's fun to always enjoy. But sort of, what is the point of the art, right? In a way, I imagine that this movie is what happens in the mindset of those who write children's books. In the same way that they have to think about how to package this very complex topic in a very approachable and fun way. I think this movie has had to go through that too. And, you know, not to deride the Marvel movies. If you like the Marvel movies, you're a kid. But also, like, they are entertaining. But I'm just saying that, like, just because they're entertaining... Like, just because there's entertaining stuff out there doesn't mean that you also can't have very thoughtful stuff that is also entertaining. Like, it's a harder bar to pass, IMO. It's hard to make something entertaining, but also extremely palpable, extremely good, extremely thoughtful. But it is so critical, so crucial for I think any medium to have that stuff, because otherwise almost what's the point of us doing any of this, right? Is the entire point of this to make money? I mean, probably to some degree, a very large degree, they're gonna make a shit ton of money off of this, selling merch, and I'm sure the merch is going to be like, it's funny because like if they make merch based off K-pop Demon Hunters, it's literally the message that the Saja boys were singing in their final song of preach to the choir, trust us, just follow us, and just buy the shit that we tell you to consume, right? Okay, you know what? That's actually a very sad way to end it, and you know what? That's a great way to end it. You know what? They're gonna commercialize the shit out of it, but even then, there's an artistry behind it, and in a way, that's sort of why people create. People create because they want to communicate this stuff. Thank you for whoever dropped by today. I know that everyone had very different timelines and they couldn't stay for very long. Or if they didn't show up at all, I have no clue. I actually can't see much of the chat at all. It's sort of like the problem with the stage thing. I don't know how to fix the UI of it. But it was good. That movie was extremely good. I really enjoyed it. I'm very surprised at how different it was from the ship post videos of like them getting pregnant. But it was extremely good. And I really enjoyed what it was. And I was very surprised at how deep it was too. And obviously it's sort of like a shallow depth, right? It's like peering into the deep end of a pool. You know that there's more underneath, but you only need to go down as far as you need to. You can start from the shallow end and slowly move down to the deep end. But at least it's not a splash pool. At least it's not a splash zone where the water only goes up to your ankle ever, no matter where you walk. You can go deeper if you want to into it, and I think that's the mark of a really interesting kids movie, is when you can tackle complexity while also having simplicity as its core mechanism, right? Because anything can be simple. It's just a tool for us to use to communicate things, and complexity is not always good because complexity demands a lot from a person to be able to understand, and that's not always relevant. And nor is that always conducive to what it is that you want to say. Very good stuff. I'm going to go down. See you all tomorrow. I think we're starting at the normal time tomorrow. We're going to be doing the accountability circle stuff. I need to get the server running today. It's actually like, I actually ran the test last night and it actually works very well, but I now need to upgrade the instance to an actual dedicated vCPU because the shared vCPU, I'm worried about the performance. Because I've heard they're very sort of low on the guarantees, so I'm going to see how this goes. And then I obviously can't show you the server tomorrow, but that's how that's how it's going to be. Bye everyone. Thank you for joining me on this KINO session and a mini VR chat session. Oh, there will be a full VR chat session soon though. Is that a shader problem or is that my headset dying? That's a shader. That's a shader. Okay. We're also going to try to figure out how to get like a cool avatar. I swear this channel is going to get much larger and much cooler. I now need to kill the thing because it's like... Oh god, please stop minimizing everything. Oh god, please stop, please. Oh god.